Hello fam, there's a dog behind me. Welcome to the big vlog in February. You know what a normal person does? A normal person sees one of their favorite booktubers announce a board game readathon, which I love. I love those. Those are my bread and butter, right? For February, in which she, in the beginning of the video, which will be linked below, the video will be linked below, where she talks about it. She jokingly says, I'm pretty sure it was jokingly says, I guess technically you could read for every prompt. All 20 of the prompts, 20 books. And then it was like, ha ha ha, and talked about what each of the prompts were, blah, blah, blah. And then the person I am, you can go into the comments of the video and you can find my comment in which I say, the urge to read for every single prompt is very strong. And then I went, what if I just make it a vlog? And so here we are. Hi. I'm crazy. It is currently the 3rd of February. This is for the Forensics February. What even is this called? I remember and then I forget so fast. It is for by, oh my god, my favorite podcast just updated. I had to watch later. I don't have time for her. Forensic February Readathon, that's what it is. Hosted by, made by Chloe Reads Books, right? I watch like all their videos. I'm in her Discord. I'm also in her book club, even though I rarely read the books in her book club if they're fiction, because I'm trying to narrow down the books I read for book clubs, unless if they're already on my TBR or I read the book club. Maybe like, hey, wait a second, Forensic February, did you say at the beginning of the month, the first vlog of the month, and in probably every other vlog, I'm in my romantic era, and Forensic February, that sounds like something that would have to do with mystery, thriller, horror, true crime, that type of stuff, which is the vibe of her book club. And I say yes, but also, I mean, there is one prompt that is just read a romance, and listen, some of them are mystery thrillers or horror. Some of them are not really true crime, but definitely nonfiction that have to do with death. And some of them are romances and romantasy and fantasy, and it's just a wild time. I have planned out the whole thing. You'll see a lot of this journal because I have planned out the whole thing, so I can tell you exactly what prompt I'm doing at what time and what I'm reading it for. What I'm reading for. Oh my god, I didn't even know this was back here. Reading for it. Anyways. Oh, these are the tabs. I was like, what is this? It's the separate tabs. Can you tell I've barely used this? Anyways. Space 1. The one that I have to read today, but I know the next one is a shorter one. Because I'm so smart, thank you me. So if it goes into tomorrow, I'm not gonna worry too much about it, because I've also already started that one. We'll talk about it when we get to that one. The first space, though, on the board, which I'm probably going to edit it and write them down, is Enter the Detective, which for that prompt, it's read a mystery thriller. Makes sense for the first one to be reading a mystery thriller. So obviously I just went through mystery thrillers that were available on Libby, and landed on What Lies in the Woods. I read the first like 3 pages of it this morning, and from what I understand, it's about, I think they're 3 teenage girls in the woods, doing something in the woods, kind of worshiping God, I don't know. And then a serial killer shows up and stabs the main character 17 times. Yes, when I read that in the synopsis, I did do in my head the Detroit Become Human meme, 22 stab wounds meme. Yeah, the greatest meme ever. I love that meme. I love that part. I love that boy. Anyways, so I did read that in the synopsis and go, okay. Anyway, she survives, and then because of her testimony and her friend's testimony, they're able to put the guy in prison. But now time has passed. There's a secret that could lead to people dying or something, and one of them wants to tell the secret, and the main character wants to go back to the woods to figure out what really happened. that time, that summer. And yeah, that is what this book is. It's been a book that I wanted to read for a little bit now, so it was just like, oh, this is the perfect time to read it. And we love that for me. Anyways, I don't need to make this any longer than it's going to be just talking. Right. So I'm gonna go and live my life. And then I will update you when I have any solid thoughts about this book, when I'm halfway through this book, when I'm done with this book. We'll see. We'll see how this happens. It may be like my big December vlog where I read those 10% of all those Simon T books, where I just update you afterwards, after the fact, right? Maybe like that, just because it's gonna be better on me editing and you watch it. Oh hi, you know what will save me during this vlog? My ability to find audiobooks. I'm very skilled at that. I want to say like 68 pages in. No, it was more like 80. I got like 80 pages in last night because I didn't start until later. Whoops. And then I went to bed at a normal time. I say normal time, it was like 11:30, but not 1 a.m. So I didn't read the whole thing yesterday. But I did right before I went to bed get my hands on an audiobook. So I did that. Hear me out. One, the twist of the true identity of a character, I half guessed and then I went, what are the chances that's actually what it's gonna be? And that was what it was. But the main twist of this book, I guess before I even opened the book, I'm just gonna say true crime's fault. When I read the synopsis, it reminded me of a true crime case. And I was like, oh, what if that's what happened, really? And then I was like, no, what are the chances? And just moved on with my life. And so when it came to be that's the basic idea of what really happened, I went, oh yeah, okay. I don't put that against the book. Like, that was just me. So I was gonna give it a 4-star, but the ending felt very rushed. Like, it was like the final reveal, and then it was the final confrontation, and then the end. And then like literally over a month passes in which all this other stuff, like, hear me out, am I the only person in mystery thrillers who like the post everything goes down information to be given, like actually know what happens after the fact when all the truth comes out and all this stuff? Like, I actually like to know what happened and whatnot. And like a lot of times, at least the ones I read are like give you like a paragraph that tells you what happened but doesn't show you, and I would like that showing. I don't care if it's an extra 50 pages. This is only 320 pages. Like, it could do with the extra 50 pages to tell me what happened after that night, okay? Or show me what happened that night. And that is why it's 3.5. It probably would be a 3.75 if I still did quarter stars, but the tracker I made for myself, I only did half and full stars, and the process of adding quarter stars would take too fucking long, and I'm lazy. So 3.5. I did initially just give it a 4 on Goodreads, but then I went back when I went to label it as read on Storygraph. I went, no, 3.5. 3.5 makes more sense for how I'm feeling. So yeah, that's that. The good news is I didn't realize it fit the January prompt for the Readathon until I was halfway done, and I was like, oh hell yeah, oh hell yeah. But yeah, that's that. Can you tell I want to do a quick update so I don't have to edit like a monster? Anyway, Space 2 on the board is A Body is Found, which is person on the cover, right? I decided to do one of the 6 billion books. Actually, I think it was like 8 books I left currently reading after filming that Simon Teen vlog in December. The one I chose is Where the Dark Stands Still. This is like quite possibly the easiest prompt. Second easiest. There was another prompt that was also super easy, which happens to be the next one. So, but this one was hell easy because that's like most of the books I read. Okay, now we gotta talk, because I went back to the specific clip where I talked about this book in that vlog, went to see what my thoughts were, and like it's been 2 months since I started it, right? So to give me the information what happened in, supposedly it was the 10%, and there's this whole thing. I remember when I read it and I pulled it up. It was like only 100 something pages, which didn't make sense to me because like usually they were like 600 page, like double what the actual page amount on the way that I was reading them. And so 100 something pages, 160 I think, for a 300 page book felt weird, but I was like, a bit, apparently it's the full read, like I don't know, because I tried multiple times to like reload it. And so I was like, I guess one chapter is 10%. No, that's a fucking lie. Because I do have it on my Kindle right now, because I got it from the library, and I only read chapter 1. I thought I was like 13-16% of this book. No, I'm only 3%. So I don't know what's going on with that whole thing. But yeah, I got a lot more to read in this than I thought I did. That being said, I do remember the writing style being enjoyable to read and also something that I could read fast, right? Now you may be like, what the fuck is this book? And I tell you now. This book is about a girl. There's this like magical plant in the woods, right? That if you go to the plant, it will follow your wish. It will give you your greatest wish. And so she goes to said plant to try to get her magical powers taken away. There was a lot, I remember a lot about how her magical powers are viewed by the people in her village and her mother and her family and her pastor and whatnot. Was very much giving pray the gay away. It was given that. Right, and then in the process of finding the plant, she comes across a guy bad guy, and takes her and love, maybe? I don't know. I remember his name when I read the synopsis. It sounded a lot like lesbian. That's what I remember about that. So it may fit into my romantasy era need right now. So that's great for me, right? From what I remember, it is loosely, not, I don't know, it follows kind of House Moving Castle, is that what it's called? Right, it's kind of giving that mixed with Polish folklore is what this book is. And so yeah, that's that. That's exactly what I'm gonna read. I have other work I have to do. Don't talk to me. It is editing. And then I will, after I'm done with that, I will work on that one. And I don't plan to finish it tonight. I plan to finish it tomorrow, which is fine. It's totally fine. We're not feeling like we're behind already. It's fine. Oh, hi. It's been so long. I'm multiple days behind. In my defense, it took me like, so I started Where the Dark Stands Still the day after I finished, or no, the day I finished What Lies in the Wood. I think I read like 60 pages, and it is now Friday. That was Tuesday, I remember, because I was live when I finished What Lies in the Woods. You know, it's been the rest of the week, and I finally finished it. In my defense, chronic pain. That's all we're gonna say about it. But that's why. That being said, I loved it. I loved it so much. The first half, I was like, okay, it's given 5 stars. I'll say the first third. The first third, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Middle third was in the height of me chronic pain, so I was like, just not. I was all in my head about other things, so I wasn't in it. But the last third, which is everything I read today, ow, and not just because my abdominal muscles are spasming constantly. I mean ow as in that emotionally hurt me. I was crying. I was actually crying in the last like 2 chapters. Well, last chapter and epilogue. Last 2 chapters and epilogue. And then the last line. I don't know why she would do such a thing to me. Personally, rude. So, you know, I don't know what my hair is doing. Anyways, I loved it. I loved it a lot. It was good. The way I keep on explaining to people is small itty bitty Beauty and the Beast vibes, but with a buttload of Polish folklore. Right? Like, it's like 90% Polish folklore, 10% Beauty and the Beast. But if anything draws people in, it's gonna be the Beauty and the Beast comparison, right? Anyways, yeah, no, I loved it. I loved their relationship. I think the part that like made me think maybe 4.5, not 5, was the fact that occasionally it would just like cut to our memories of the past, right? And so I would just be like, oh, what the hell is this? It's like doing it in a weird way. I'm not the biggest fan. But the way that memories and souls work in this universe, I get it, and I like it, and it's good. We got the found family. We do have the enemies to lovers romance kind of going on. Listen, I didn't know if I should rate it fantasy or fantasy romance on my tracker. I did go with just fantasy because that's what Storygraph has it labeled as. But that saying, the last like third is very, last third, because basically everything I read today and a little bit of yesterday is very fantasy romance. I say that there's like one scene where they heavily make out, and then there's not really anything, and then it's closed door, so you don't see anything, but you know they, right? And then it's just them being in love and sacrificing themselves for each other and dying in each other's arms, and I'm fine. Literally dying in her arms, all like, I don't need to be saved, you already saved me. I'm fine. It's fine. Anyways, really fucking good. Go read it. Next, my review of that book. I don't want to stay here a long time because my back hurts too. It's almost 9 o'clock already. And 3. This vlog's gonna be long enough. Okay, let me live my life. Let me live my life. Next space. This one's gonna be easy. I'm gonna start it tonight, but I will finish it tomorrow, and then read the next one also only this weekend. I don't know how I'm gonna finish that because that one's gonna be very long. But the next prompt, space 3, is bring in the forensic team, which is Read a Book Club pick, which in her video she talks about how it could be any book club, it could be a previous book club pick from her book club, all that stuff. I could have reread Sleepy, that would have been a good idea. I kind of want to do that, but I have a book club. Well, I run a book club for somebody, so obviously I'm gonna just do that book. That makes sense. The theme for February for my book club was romance, but because it's called the Donut Cafe, romance that has to do with baking or cooking, or like baking competitions, cafes, restaurants, bakeries, that type of stuff. The winner was one of the like 8 I put in, which is a Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. The way I know the full title, I just wrote Cuban Girl's Guide. Okay, me. I initially just had it as an ebook, but I did check at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. last night, and my library did have the audiobook available. There was a hold on it before, but now I'm all, and a girl got it. It was me. Hi, I'm me. It's because this new library card, audiobooks are only 14 days instead of 21, so, that's why. Anyways, so the audiobook is like 8.5 hours long. So we both know I can read that probably all tonight if I really tried. I'm not going to. Honestly, I don't have any other plans today, so actually I may. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because technically it's one of those books that I could read while I do other things, but also like, what other things do I have to do? Like, I randomly edited a whole vlog today that I didn't need to edit. Like, what other things do I need to do? Like, it's fine. Anyways, that's the next one. I know a few people have started it. I don't remember the one person in the book club who's already read it. Like, she finished it in like day 2 or 3 of February. I don't know how she did that. But I don't remember what she rated it, but I know a few people have started it and said it took a little bit getting into. And also, the person who I read it for was talking about how the main character, she keeps on being like, oh, she's so annoying and young, and then has to remember, no, this is a YA romance, that's what it's supposed to be. Anyways, that's that. I'm gonna go read that. I forgot to bring up the most important part of Where the Dark Stands Still. How could I do this? Leslie, the demon whose name sounds like lesbian. Honestly, I think the fact that I clocked the kind of church view of gay people pray the gay away vibes I was getting when it, like, magic being allegory for gayness, that's not a new thing. Like, the BBC TV show Merlin, we all know this is a thing. Like, I think me clocking that, I don't think that was an accident. I think she did that on purpose, and I love her for that. Because Leslie is confirmed bi. His last relationship was with a man, and I already talked about how they gained this relationship and how they're madly in love, and he does, the way he words it is, I didn't think I could feel this again after losing him. So, where's my woodland demon in a mansion in the woods where no people come? Like, what? That seems like my dream. I could just, make a magic garden full of whatever fruit. That sounds like a great fucking time. And he has a magic library too. There's a magic library. Obviously, this is my dream. My dream man is this random demon boy. He may be 200 years old, but he looks like 19. Anyways, also, I would like to know, I got a little bit of a fruity vibe from her with her relationship with her best friend. I know she was her cousin, but, like, it's ye olden times, it's fine. I got a little bit of a little fruity vibes. The, like, desire to run away to the city together. And the heartbreak when she married a man. Okay, anyways, that's just an added thing I forgot to mention initially. But I loved it so much. I need to go figure out what to do with my life. Actually, I need to go wash my face. I will go do that. Goodbye. We're back here in the same sweater. Yes, listen, there may be a prompt, not that far from where I am now, in which it has to match your outfit. And so I did go through the process of a lot of my TBR trying to find books with, like, pink colors to match this, because chances are, right, like, I'll be excused to wear it one day, right, and then try to find one that was available or didn't have that long of a wait list, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I just read all of Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Let's read the whole thing. Like this afternoon, 3 o'clock already. I started at, like, 11. And my thoughts and opinions are, maybe one of these days, the book club pick will be one I enjoy. I say this as I know May will be, because I already know the prompt for that, or not prompt, but the theme will be my favorite books that they have to choose one from. So it's fine. It's fine. It's also great because this is one from my TBR that I put on the list. It's great when it's my books that I put on there, and then I'm like, eh. So, just lovely. I would like to know, I didn't know the author of this. I read the first 10% of one of her other books for, this Big Simon teen vlog, right? That's a slightly better wrinkle. I didn't know if that was the same author until I went to, like, see if I had read anything else by her, and I went, oh, and the combination of reading the first 10% of that one and reading all of this one, which there is a sequel of, I will not be picking it up. I didn't have the series, not bothering to put on my series list, blah, 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 I'm not the biggest fan of how she writes her characters. This one follows Layla, who is right before her, I think that's her name, right before her 18th birthday, right? And right before the summer, right before prom, her grandmother, who she was really close with, died of a heart attack. I would like you to know, we do find out, like, in the last quarter of the book, that she was a fun to find her grandmother, right? So that's a thing. And then her boyfriend of multiple years broke up with her, saying he needed space right before prom. And then her best friend, her really only friend, but her best friend, turns out was planning a trip to rural Africa. Listen, I did see a review that was talking about the questionable aspect of that whole Africa aspect. And I get it. Right? You know how it's talked about as if like she's going to rural Africa, and they do say it's Ghana officially, like, twice, that the best friend goes to, but, like, when she's complaining to other people about her friend going there without, the issue she has with this, not the fact that her friend's going to Africa for this once-in-a-life opportunity, but the fact that her friend didn't tell her until she was already packing to leave, about to go to Africa. And it's, the way it's explained is that the main character spends a lot of her time, this is why that friendship broke up, but also why her relationship broke up, is because she spends a lot of time trying to control everything, and they were sick of it, and so they both left her. Accidentally at the same time, like within weeks apart. Right? And that's why the friend wouldn't tell her, because she was scared that she was gonna, like, stop her and all this stuff, and she at one point is all like, I'm so sorry I made you, like, I get the, like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, but it's like, I'm sorry that I was like that and I wasn't a good enough friend. And I'm like, okay, but that does not negate the fact that, like, this friend does not trust you to tell you her life stuff. Which, one thing I'll give this book is at the end when they make up, it's not like, yay, we're best friends again. It's like, this is a different kind of relationship. We're not best friends ever again. We're probably never going to be best friends again, and we probably won't tell each other all our details about lives. But, like, we'll catch up every once in a while, and if we're in the same city, we'll probably get tea type friendships. Okay, I appreciate that. But when she's complaining about this whole aspect to another person, she complains that her friend wouldn't be able to survive in rural Africa because she loves her hairdryer too much. You get a little bit of an icky vibe, okay, right? So, you know, there's that. Also, further things, so what is the plot? The plot is that her family is very stressed about her because of all this happening. We learn later point in the book, she does do self-harm because of all this. So their solution is to send her from everything and everyone she knows and loves, her whole entire support system, to a different country she's never been to before. To stay with people she's barely met. Yeah, no, we were talking in the book club message board thing about how, the one that was like, it got, like, we were all laughing that she was complaining about getting to go to England for free for multiple months, and I'm just like, let's go, I'm constantly on a verge of a breakdown. Can my family send me to England for 3 months? Like, let's go. But also, like, one of them brought up this great point of, like, hey, seems like she needs, mental health services not to be sent away from home. And I was like, yeah, it's given, who needs therapy when we can just send her away and not have to worry about it. We don't see it, it's not an issue. Right? That's what it's given. That's what it's given. Which I'm not a big fan of for obvious fucking reasons. Yeah. And it's just like, and then the whole book is, like, a good chunk of it is her just being, like, sad that her family did this to her. Valid. And then her making friends with this British boy, Orion, who has the tea shop. And they have a lot in common. And slowly, as she's hanging out with him and his friends and his family, they start growing a relationship, kind of. But, like, it's this whole thing, like, she's eventually gonna leave England and all this stuff. And also throughout all of it, she's also just learning more about herself and her relationships with people before this and how she wants to change and all this stuff. I'm like, that's cool. That's great. Can somebody put her in therapy? Again, I would like to know, I put the sentence in this group chat. Maybe they should have, like, sent her to, in my opinion, at least grief counseling. And I said that 50% before we learned she's the one that finds her grandmother's body when she died. This bitch definitely should have gone to therapy. It's like, running away to England, small rural town in England solves all your problems. Not, like, actually dealing with your problems. And just, like, I'm assuming if she went to therapy, she'd probably come to a lot of the same conclusions. But, I'm thinking it may have been healthier and better for her if she, and hear me out, went to therapy. Also, let's not forget that, like, everybody in her life, one, her family, but also her whole entire town, was, like, knew all of this stuff about her, and we're all like, oh, poor her, blah, blah, blah. And she was just trying to, like, live her life, and people were just constantly talking about it. Did I find happiness and joy when her ex called her up, and she initially does give him the moment in time, like, talk to him and stuff, but when he immediately started dating somebody else, who was his friend before, been there, done that, girl, but also, and he's all like, it was nothing, it was only like 2 weeks, and she's like, sure, so while I was crying heartbroken, you were banging her, cool, that makes me feel great, and two, now you're coming back running all like, baby, please, I miss you, maybe I ran too far away from you, maybe I should, like, stay by you a little bit, and she's like, it's kind of too late, like, I don't, like, she's like, give me some time to think about it, and then she's like, I think it's too late, like, I think maybe you aren't good to me. And, yeah. I like that part. That part was good. Anyways, 2.5 stars. I don't think I'm gonna read anything by the author ever again. And that's fine. Anyways, the fourth prompt, because we're a weekend and we're only on prompt 4. You're not stressed. I'm stressed. The fourth prompt, I hate this more than you do, is Iron Flame. The fourth prompt is gather evidence. So the book has to have a map or glossary. Imagine my excitement and happiness when I got the Iron Flame hold from the library, and then I realized I couldn't fit one of the later prompts because of the way that timing works. I was like, I don't think I can, like, I think my hold will be over by then, which is accurate because I have 4 more days as of right now. So I was like, I don't think I'll be able to fit in that one. That's so annoying. What do I do it for? Because I want to read it, right? To then open it on my phone and see that there is a map, but also a graphic that explains the hierarchy of this war college and all this stuff. I will hopefully remember to take screenshots before I return it to the library. Anyways, my plan is to read the whole thing this weekend. If you know anything about Iron Flame Fourth Wing, you know I'm crazy. This may destroy me. At least I know the next book is an audiobook, so it's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. But this may physically destroy me. One, because I plan to read this one in 24 hours. I'm going to do it again. I read all of Fourth Wing. In case you didn't know, I read all of Fourth Wing last month in 24 hours. And I had a great fucking time. I rated it 5 stars. I loved it. There's also a podcast episode. It's in the multiple vlogs. Blah, blah, blah. Because those weekly reading vlogs was like, the cutoff time is halfway through. But yeah, I read it in 24 hours. And so this one's longer. Like, Iron Flame, my copy from the library is 881 pages. Fucking save me. I hate this about myself. The friend who talked me into reading this series, just finished Iron Flame and was talking about how the ending hurt her. I'm feeling great. I keep on seeing things about both that and also because Onyx Storm just came out and people talking about how the way she ends things on cliffhangers. I'm like, oh, this is great because I'm like place 2,600 on Onyx Flame. Anyways, I also have the audiobook. I saved myself by getting the audiobook from Hoopla, thankfully. And I did the math, and it's something like 7 hours if I do it at 4 times speed. So I think I can do it. I can do it. I gotta wait for later today, because a friend is alive right now, and I'm modding. So I gotta wait until that's over. So I will read it in between, because it's also movie night. I gotta wait in between, and that time I'll read it. And depending what the movie is, I will read it more and just hang out and chat and not actually watch the movie. And then, this is the issue. Tomorrow's Super Bowl Sunday. And I actually care about football. We're not talking about it. I don't know who I became in the past, like, 6 months. We're not talking about it. So I am gonna be watching Super Bowl, so I may stay up until like 2 in the morning reading all of Iron Flame just so that I can go to bed and then wake up and watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. At least I know the next one's an audiobook. So yeah, that's the plan. Maybe we'll have another 5-star. I can hope. Listen, I'm worried about Iron Flame because I've heard some people love it, and I've heard some people say it was a big letdown after Fourth Wing. So I'm worried about her, but we're gonna do her. We're gonna do her in the next 24 hours. I don't know why we're gonna do that, but this is who I am as a person. So we just gotta move on with our lives with that knowledge. And I'm gonna go. I've been procrastinating. I'm going to have to edit because that's what I'm gonna do in the meantime. Ew, I don't wanna. I have thoughts and opinions. I just finished Iron Flame. Okay, so like it's the next day. I did read until 1:30 in the morning. Okay, I'll give me applause for that one. I was like, I want to say like 82% of the way through at that point. I did read most of it. The issue was the rate I was listening as I was reading, right? I was dual reading. The rate that I was reading was too fast for my very sleepy brain to comprehend what was happening. So I would have to keep on going back and rereading pages, meaning that it would be another hour probably on top of like the hour more I had. And I just went, now I'm gonna go to bed and I'll do it in the morning. And then I didn't pick it up until noon. I'm not talking about it. I still can read the next book all before the game. It's fine. And yeah, that is what happened with it. Finished it just now. I will, spoiler free, trying my hardest with the note that the person, I was expecting something happening in the end in which somebody dies or is hurt. There are two. One of them, I didn't care. I didn't care at all. The other one, I expected it to be. I was like, how much pain can we give Violet? What's the character harming would hurt Violet the most? Is this character, something has to happen with this character, and I was right. So I wasn't surprised. I didn't guess exactly like what would happen, because like I didn't even clock that could be a thing. So I'm surprised and wondering what will happen in Onyx Storm because of it. That can be multiple months down the line issue. Hopefully next month. We can only hope. But you know, that's a thing that's happening in my life where I was like, so it wasn't shocking. That being said, I was in a constant state of stress reading this book. Okay, like, I'm sorry. It's stressful. Did I laugh a few times? Yes. Did I have a good time? Yes. Did I get angry? Yes. Did I laugh very, 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 very hard when the book straight up she calls Dane an asshole? As per normal, I laughed. I laughed hard. Right. Is he better in the end? Yes, I guess. Did I tell people to put Dane as an asshole as per usual? On my gravestone, yes. This is my defining trait right now. I hate him. I hate him so much. Listen, it's great because we learn things about Xaden that makes the two of them a little more similar than you'd like. And so she has to deal with this whole fact and confront him about, hey, this is a thing that I have to trust that you did this, used this thing that you can do responsibly and didn't abuse me the way that Dane did. And it's like this whole thing. Also, listen, do I love their love? Yes. Did they have the same argument throughout the whole entire fucking book and it was annoying? Yes. They started banging around halfway through and I was like, oh, finally, maybe we're done with this, like, just constant same fight over and over and over in a cycle. Which is basically her being like, you keep secrets from me, which, well, he's kept a lot of secrets from her. Her being like, I don't know if I can trust you because of this. Like, I still love you, but like, that's a thing, and I need to be able to trust you, right? Especially since she's been raised as a person who is like, knowledge is very important to her. So knowing about him and what's going on with him is important, right? And so he's all like, if you ask me questions, I'll answer them. Possibly. Literally, so many times he's like, just ask me questions about myself and I'll answer them. And then when she finally does, he doesn't. Initially, I get why, and she gets why. It's just like fucking annoying. 2, every time she's like, you kept another secret from me. He's like, well, you didn't ask the right question. It's just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Finally, at the end, right before the end battle scene, they're like, okay, maybe that's not a thing. They like, okay, we need to make rules of this relationship, which includes the fact that, yes, we're both writers that work in this rebellion. We gotta there's separation of church and state going on here, but you gotta actually tell me things. You can't just wait for me to ask the right questions. You gotta actually talk to me as a fucking person who is also in this relationship. Fucking finally. It took like 800 pages, at least in my copy. Anyways, yeah. That was annoying. The ending was a little predictable. I already talked about that. That being said, I had a good time. So I'm going with a 4. I may up it to a 4.5 later, but it's sitting at a solid 4 right now. And that's where we're leaving it for now. I'll think about it later. I will think about it Monday. So tomorrow. I gotta do another thing. So yeah. Other things. Next prompt 5. If I read this 1 all today, I will only be behind by 1. Which we should all be proud of me for. The next one is crime scene photos. Which means a photo on the cover. I had multiple options. I kept on trying to figure out what book to do. There was one on my physical shelves that I wanted to do for it, but I figured out a different prompt to read it because I'm actually really excited to read that one and all this stuff. And then when I was going through this last month, at the end of the month, I borrowed a bunch of Hoopla audiobooks, and I didn't have time to read them all before the end of the month. And one of them, I have like 2 or 3 more days left on my loan, right? But that means it's just enough time, and it fits the prompt, which is Made, I think. There may be a secondary title to it. It's nonfiction. We're not talking about how far ahead in my nonfiction goal we're in. It is about a woman who, I think, okay, so there was an adaptation, like a limited series adaptation. I think it was like 3 episodes, something like that, with, I can't remember her name. Editing me will do the lookup work. We all know her now because she was in The Substance. But
What's up? It's editing me. I just washed my hair. We're ignoring that. It's Margaret Qualley. Photo of her up. It's Also, I'm about to go into how the first thing I saw her in was in Death Stranding. That's a lie. I forgot she was in the Netflix live action Death Note movie. You know that horrible film? I forgot she was in that. Oh my god. Anyways, I should really watch the miniseries that's based off of this book. I should do that. I'll add it to my list.
I know her initially from Death Stranding, and I loved her in it. So after that, I was like trying to find things that she was in. And shortly-ish after that, the adaptation came out of this book. Right? And from what I know, reading the synopsis of that limited series is what I know about this book. Which basically, if I'm right, if it's a true adaptation, it's about a woman who was in an abusive relationship. I think it was an abusive relationship. And so she goes on the run with her child, working low-paying maid jobs to make ends meet, trying to like survive. And about her experiences being basically homeless, I think, for a part of it. I don't know. Anyways, the audiobook is under 9 hours, so I can do it. And I am in my nonfiction era, apparently. we're not gonna question that. Anyways, the plan is to read all that and maybe start the next one, because the next one I don't have the audiobook. I'm 98% sure. Good news is the one after that I know, because I wear this sweater all the time. I picked the outfit one based off of this sweater, and I figured it out. So this is not important. I'm gonna close off. I'll update you later. It is only 2 o'clock, so I have time. I am exhausted. We're not talking about it. So is Bella. She looks so cute. I'm gonna drink more coffee and get some food and listen to Maid. Bye. Hello, hi. I read Maid. My hair looks like a mess. 3 stars. Hear me out. There was nothing really wrong with it. It was fine. It was fine. The parts I preferred is when she went more into depth about the process of actually having to be on like 7 different government programs or whatever to just like eat food and exist, right, and how much work they force you to go through to get all those like things to exist, like just food stamps or paid childcare or anything like that. There was like one point where they changed how it was done, and so they called up like basically every woman who was on a program for paid childcare to be like, you have to come in person with all this paperwork and all this stuff to prove that you actually do work this much, and then if you work any more you don't get your free childcare, so you can't make too much money to get out of it, or else you lose everything because you can't do it. Like there's this like middle part where you are in if you work a little too much, in which you can survive, but you also can't have these systems. So like that and then mixed with general public opinion of people who are like on food stamps or whatever. I like there was this one part where somebody she cleaned for would be like would complain that, I think if I remember properly, that immigrants were the people who were using food stamps, and so if we just stopped letting people in or something like that, right? And in her head, because she like is working for this lady, so she can't straight up say, hey, I'm on food stamps, right? Or anything. She in her head is thinking about how she knows personally from a person who has to go through the whole entire process that you can't be on food stamps if you're an immigrant. You have to be a legal citizen and all the, or not a legal citizen, but born citizen maybe, I don't know, and all this stuff. Like that part I liked, but the rest of it was just like meh, whatever, writing wise. The part that made me think most about this book was after I read it and I was on Goodreads looking at reviews, in which a lot of people apparently dislike this book, and there is one small group of people with this one argument about this book that I saw a lot, where they're like, okay, but she's like a white woman who came from a middle-class family, like, yeah, she didn't have the particularly best life and all this stuff, but she's a white woman. Like, imagine if she was a woman of color or an immigrant and all this other stuff, right? Which valid. But and I think she does mention at one point that people are surprised when a white woman is on food stamps and stuff like this, and how people just assume you have to be a person of color to be on food stamps. Yeah. So she does like briefly in one sentence mention the internalized racism of the whole entire societal views on these different programs. But most of the reviews I saw were complaining that basically all the ways in which she wasn't a good mother, which, yeah, when she got that $4,000 tax return, maybe she shouldn't have spent $200 on a new ring. I get it. I get the sentimental or the personal reason why she did that. I get why she did that, but I also get people's arguments of like, hey, maybe you should use that money to get out of that apartment that is literally making your child sick, and stuff like that. Like, I get the point that they're trying to make, but the necessity, like, hating everything she did, if it was slightly wrong thing, bothered me in a way in which we expect mothers to be perfect at all times kind of thing. Especially when people, apparently these reviews, don't think to question either one of her abusive exes. Listen, Travis, he was better when they weren't together. I'll give him that. But her, like, the father of her child was straight up abusive. And then she was still forced to have to take her child to see him, in which her child would come back, like, hating her. There were, like, a whole bunch, like, I'm actually questioning, like, the people that he was letting hang around his child, like, grown men on a boat. And then she comes home wetting the bed again. I'm, like, actually worried about this child when she is near her father, and how he was already not a great person when they were together, before she found out she was pregnant, and then he started getting abusive when she was pregnant and had the kid, and there's, like, police reports that he was abusive, and still, they, like, barely gave her, most custody. She has, I think it's, like, every other weekend she had to go to her father's, but, like, otherwise, the kid was with her, and as you can imagine, he's not paying fucking child support. This man complains that she doesn't wish him a happy Father's Day when he spends 4 days of a month with his child. Yeah, no. Okay? So, like, not enough people have issues with him, at least in the reviews, and have more issues with the fact that, like, she gets $100 tip and goes to McDonald's for dinner because they can afford McDonald's. I get it. You want your child to have food. Yeah, I get it. You want your child to have, like, a full balanced meal as much as you can get her. And stuff like that. But, like, also, like, they negate also the fact that she was, again, in this abusive relationship, and she clearly has PTSD and definitely panic disorders from it, and also went through abuse via neglect from her parents herself, and so you're expecting her to be the perfect mother with this stuff and no support system, like, and that's why that's my review. My review is some other reviews I saw made me think more than this actual book did about people's views on mothers. And that's for my review. 3 stars. I gotta go back to the initial page. Where is I? I'm on space 6. I know what it is because I just looked at the synopsis of it, so it's fine. The next space is the murder weapon. I feel like getting out Clue right now. So obviously you need a weapon on the cover. It's pretty simple. Prompt. The one I chose, there were a bunch I was looking into. There was, is it Shadow Between Us? Something like that. Or Space Between Us, something like that. That Chloe, who, this is her board game, she, when she landed on that spot, that's what she chose for that. But sadly, I couldn't get my hands on it, and I was very sad. I was like, oh damn, that could have been funny. But I was able to get my hands on Scarlet, not the sequel to Cinder. The first book in a trilogy, I believe. We're not talking about that. Where we follow Will Scarlet, thief for Robin Hood. Except Will Scarlet has this deep secret, and that is that she's a woman. She's a girl. She's female. That's the secret. She dresses up as a man to hide her identity, and also that she can live life. And apparently the secrets of her actual identity and the tragedy that surrounds it is the only thing that can save the people. And also, Little John is now John Little, and she has a thing with him, apparently. I don't know. The ebook is not that long. It's like under 300 pages. So I'm thinking while all the boring stuff of the game is happening, I'll just, like, which has just started. They just were, like, flipping the coin when I sat down to record this. I will probably read a few pages tonight. I don't know. I'm tired, but I'm also feeling the hype of only being 1 book behind now. I was drowning earlier. Also, it's great when my chronic pain is not at like a 9. It's great. Hello, hi. Welcome to the review of one of the worst books I've ever read. God, it was so bad. I at one point last night sent 5-minute voice message and another 2-minute voice message to the fish, and the fish was like, "Oh my god, dude," and I went, "Yeah, but I'm running on spite now." And stubbornness. Well, I was initially. Alright, hear me out. There's a bunch of reasons why I don't like this book. First off, I started reading it and I went, "What the fuck is this?" Right? Because the writing for Scarlett's character is horrendous. I actually thought, right, that it was like a weird dupe that my library managed to get instead of the actual book, until I went to look at reviews, which did spoil that I was right on who her secret identity was when I guessed it before I picked up the book, because I was like, the only character I'm not seeing here is Maid Marian. This book came out in 2012, and also you shouldn't read it. I don't care spoiling it. Okay, so I was like, ah, shit, I was right about that. Anyways, she talks. She not only talks like this, but thinks like this. And I did take a highlight so that I could tell you this. Also, I did screenshot the quote, and then I sent it to the fish, and the fish went, "I think I had a stroke reading that." Anyways, at 5% in, we're like the road we walked near every day, we're gone, and we were walking to a fey and foreign place instead of the sheriff's keep. That, there's no was. Anytime she's thinking or talking, she doesn't use the word was. Most of the time, I can get like shortening words, whatever, that's fine, whatever. But, which she did do sometimes, but it was, the word was not part of her vocabulary, apparently. It was were, which makes no sense. Because she's Maid Marian secretly. She's a high lady secretly. And at the end, she does try to excuse it as when she was on the run, and then became a thief. She started doing it by copying commoners, and it just became easier to just constantly do that, right? Except, like, I get Robin doesn't talk like that because he's like the son of an earl or something like that. So he's also a high-class man, so he wouldn't talk like that. But she does hang out with commoners. Like, the 2 other people in the group are the son of a blacksmith, and I don't know what much did it read originally, but he did have to steal food at one point to try to feed his family, right? These 2 people, commoners, never talk like this. Every other character, for the most part, that she talks to is a commoner. Never talk like that. Even the horrible ones never talk like that. It's just her, and I don't know why, and it's so bad. So like, it's poorly written. Also, so is the love triangle. The love triangle, it's actually horrendous. It's like so much worse than Twilight. Hear me out, because like she didn't want to be with John, and he forcefully kisses her, and a bunch of other things, and she's all like, "I don't want to be with you, John." She pushes him away physically, she pushes him away emotionally, all this stuff. But when she's injured, she lets him stay by close because she's injured and physically and mentally cannot handle the fact that she has to push him away because she is injured, right? Robin clocks this, and he's all like, "If you want me to hit him, I can." Then she's injured again, and they have to take off like most of her shirt, which means her tatas are about to come out, and John's all like, "I don't mind seeing the tatas if I have to." And Robin is like beat him up, and then they're fighting each other over her, and she goes to the other guy, Butch, who is the best character, and I believe he deserves the world. I'm gonna briefly say that he has one hand, and there's ableism involved because of that. Yay. Anyways, the only props I give Scarlett is that she is the only one who's actually good to him. And doesn't treat him like he can't do anything because he has one hand. Anyways, she goes to Much and has Much do it, take care of her wounds, because she doesn't want to deal with either one of them. And right after this is all in the same chapter, Robin then goes to her and says, "You need to figure out your shit with John. You gotta stop toying him around. because it's causing issues in the group. And I can't have that. And she's all like, you said you were going to handle it. And he's like, yeah, but you gotta stop toying with him. Anyways, we also gotta talk about the point where she was sexually assaulted. She was sexually assaulted 3 times in this book. 2 of them in the same chapter. I will give the other characters this. The second time in that chapter, none of them saw it because they were all in the heat of battle. The third time, when Robin finds her after the fact, he gets very angry. Okay? But the first time, 2 of them are there. This is the only time I hate you much. Much and John are both there. See it happen. As she's telling this other woman, about as she's like dressed as a man, everyone believes she's a man. She's telling this other woman all this stuff, about how she needs to stop being a loudmouth. And this other woman takes this opportunity to come up and forcefully kiss her. And everyone laughs. John and Much are laughing hysterically. They go and tell Robin. They're all laughing about it. They have so much fun laughing about it as she's like literally telling them to shut the she's like really mad about it. And they're laughing because it's so funny because they know a girl just got sexually assaulted by another girl and that's funny. And meanwhile, all the other people are laughing because they just saw a man get sexually assaulted by a woman and that's so funny. Yeah. Anyways, let me get Discord up because at around 11 p.m. Yeah, 10:39, I started telling friends what was happening in the books, like with no context, and we were all just like, okay, let's just burn all the men alive, like solution. So for a little bit of context, we gotta talk about how child brides are a thing in this book. And the villain obviously was her, like, who she was a child bride for. Right, but when she's telling the story of who his child bride was, she says that she just killed herself. And then the men are all like, ha 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 ha, that's such a dumb reason to kill yourself. Like, get a better fucking reason. Women have to be sold off for marriage all the time. Who cares about child brides? Ha 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 ha. And she gets mad for obvious reasons, and then they laugh at her being mad about it. Anyways, eventually they learned that she's actually the child bride. When she was 13, not even 14 yet. Whoop. And, quote me, oh, so now you know the person who's forced to be a child bride, you're suddenly against the practice despite laughing at how women complained about it earlier. And then we were all fighting. He's actually mad now because she's secretly engaged the whole time and he's in love with her. Not because she had to go on the run at 13 because a 40-year-old man was about to marry her. And because of that, he's now calling her a whore. He's calling her a whore. Let me scroll down to find the quote. There's a quote that when they're all like romancy, Robin and her are romancy after this at the very end of the book. He's all like, oh my god. And she's like, but you fucking called me a lot of horrible things. Literally told me to get the fuck out of here. I'm not part of the band anymore, to the point where I literally just did a bunch of shit because it's not like I'm part of the band anymore, so you can't stop me and all this stuff to save your life. So what the fuck was that about? And he's all like, hurting you is the best way I know to punish myself. That was also his excuse for dead naming her. The only props, when he did dead name her the first time, she did knee him in the balls, and let's go. So they all think she's a whore when he explains it. That's a fun time. And now they're blaming her for being a child bride, because that's normal. And then we get the dead naming. And then she has to marry the man she was sold to at 13 to free the man she loves. And the other guy who likes her, so John, had a chance to kill the villain who they have literally seen kill literal children for the fun of it. He had the chance to kill him and he didn't because also knowing that he is now married to the woman he kind of has a thing for, but also his close friend. She is now married to this man legally, and he has literally given her so many scars physically and emotionally already, and they've been married for 5 minutes, right? Most of them are for before the marriage, okay? He gets the chance. He has the killing blow, and he hesitates and doesn't do it, because if he was dead, then she'd be able to go off and be with Robin and not be with him. And therefore, by not killing this guy, the villain of the series, this really, really bad man, did so many other horrible things that have nothing to do with her, right? Instead of killing this man, he lets him live so that it causes some strife in her relationship with Robin, so that John has a chance to sneak in and be in a romance with her. And I would stab him. She's immediately pissed for obvious fucking reasons, and he's like, oops, sorry, and just leaves. And then she goes and like fixes up Robin because he's all wounded, and she's all like, I guess I'm not that mad anymore. I'm like, no. If I ever saw his face again, I'd have to take off his eyes or something. I don't know. So yeah, I finished it then, and I rated it 1 star. It was so bad. It was so bad. I hated it. Anyways, this is my 10-minute rant about this book. At least it wasn't long. Listen, hear me out. Yes, it is worse than the Jenica Snows, because they're both poorly written and physically hurt me. Like, at one point, I was, like, crying, because how much I was hating having to pick it up. I really should the end up. It really brought up my average rating. My average rating was just under a 4 for the month, and now it's at 3.5. But, where was I with that thought? There were dots, they were connected, they're not anymore. Oh right, I haven't even rated a Jenica Snow 1 star. Like, I rarely rate books 1 star. Unless they're problematic. And then I went, wait a second. On top of the, like, constant misogyny, also really thought it was doing stuff with the gender discussion. But it didn't. Because 1, it's poorly written, and 2, it's from 2012. So, gender discussion from 2012. You can expect the kind of transphobia that happened there. Yes, when people find out that she's actually a girl, they go, oh my god, you, she, he, whatever you are, like, right? That type of stuff. Also, we get the dead naming, all that fun stuff. And you know, I hate it here. Moving on to the next one, which scares me. It scares me because I just saw a review that somebody I follow left on the book about how this author has written a different book that was problematic, and now I'm like, ah, shit. And also the audiobook's 14 hours long. I don't understand how. Anyways, next prompt is clothing that matches outfit. That's why I'm wearing jeans, baby. We're ignoring the red socks. I'm wearing jeans, baby, because I was trying to find books with like pink covers, because normally I am wearing the big pink hoodie. I didn't wear it yesterday, I didn't wear it today because it needs to be cleaned. I'm sorry. So I was trying to figure out books to do with that. I found a few. I was plugging things in and out, and then I walked by my 25 and 2025 on my whiteboard, and I went, wait a fucking second, 1,000 Boy Kisses. In which the cover is light pink and light blue, so this outfit, and so now I'm reading this book. The audiobook is 14 hours save. Don't know why it is that, but it is. Anyways, I'm gonna go read that, and then I'm gonna start the next one, because hear me out, there's a possible chance that on Valentine's Day I read the book I'm most excited for. So if I speed read. So let's go. We're gonna ignore the sound of the loudest dishwasher in the universe. She done the first page done. We want the second page. Who knew I was gonna cry? Alright, somebody who also is named Rose, was answering a question for me about what cover colors. I'm colorblind. For my book tracker. Anyways, I forgot, did I bring up what this book is about? No, I did guess what happened. I think it's predictable. We all know that she was gonna die, right? Like, the story is Poppy and Rune, who are childhood best friends, right? When his family moves from Norway to, I think it's Georgia, and they're like the houses next door. Their rooms are like directly across from each other. All this stuff. Childhood best friends, and then they start a romance when they're like 13 and they're happily in love, but then his family has to move back to Norway for a few years, and they try to do the long distance thing, and then she basically ghosts his ass. Right? And it's pretty obvious to you as the reader that she got sick some way. Like, even not looking at the content warnings and seeing cancer there and illness, it was obvious that like something health-wise happened, right? And so like her whole family moved away from town for a few years, everything. And shortly before he returns to town, she returns to town, right? So she randomly learns one day that he's returning. They try to keep their distance, but eventually they can't help it because they still love each other. And he makes her tell him why, and then she's like, I'm dying, bitch. I think I ate too much pasta. My tummy's not happy. And then it's just them being together until she dies. And then epilogue 10 years later, he's also dead. I did, one of the people I follow on Goodreads, whose reviews I read and whatnot, I think she DNF'd it and then linked somebody's video on it, and then I just finished watching that video. Her crying in the car constantly, hilarious. Great content. It was so funny. And I think she looked it up or something, I don't know, where he died in a fire or something. I don't know. The end. The way this book has been out for nearly 10 years, oh my god. And I've just read it. Heathen. I can't think of words. Actions by me? I don't know. Anyways, there's one gone for my 2025. I did tell the fish to read it, and the fish told me that before we were friends, multiple people had told them to read it. I'm like, no, you would love this. It's sad. Just like you. I do think they would love this. It is the only the obvious comparison is Fault in Our Stars. Right? Is this a great point to remind everyone that I forgot that this is the same author of another book, which I own, which is, I think, a dark wrestler romance. Totally the same thing. Anyways, so obviously Fault in Our Stars is the best comparison because like she's dying of cancer, right? But it also gives Lover Eternal Lover, there we go. Whichever way it goes, the second book in the Dark Dagger Brother? Black Dagger Brotherhood. I can never say the series title properly. That I read in the beginning of the month. It's that. It's also that. It's the combination of those two. And I was sitting there like on the verge of crying after like reading this for like 3 hours straight, and all this stuff. And I was just like, why is this not hitting me? Like normally, because like it's not poorly written. It's got, like, if I had the ebook, I would be highlighting portions of it, right? Like I was having, like, it's a well-written book. I enjoyed it, but I was like, why am I not liking it as much? Why is it not hitting as hard? Like, I say that as I did cry in the end, but like, this is the type of book that would normally have me sobbing, and I didn't, which is great because I am also currently live. That would have been bad. I would have just had to hide my face and be like, oh no. I think that's from the time that I got the Black Dagger Brotherhood correlation comparison idea pop in my head, and then I went, oh, that's why, because this whole aspect, the whole, like, it's not poorly written, and the romance was fine. I wasn't the biggest fan of him for a good chunk of the book, because he definitely has anger issues, and somebody should put him in therapy. Apparently that's me and a thing with why romance is right now. But in that book, I liked the romance aspect more. And so the actual, like, her dying hit me more. Right? And she doesn't even die in that one. He supernaturally saves her life. So, like, it's fine. And I think I technically did cry more for this one than I did that one. But, like, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, it's still good. It's just, I don't think it's good personally for me, because I wasn't the biggest fan of their relationship, just because I didn't like Rune's anger issues. Like, to the point of, like, he's actually, like, throwing and breaking furniture all over the place. Right? And I'm just, like, scared. Like, the point when he forces her to tell him why she ghosted him, he's, like, forcefully holding her up against a tree in her face. And it's, like, actually kind of scary. Like, that's not my favorite. Like, I get they're teenagers, and he's been through that, but, like, right? Anyways, it was fine. 3 stars. It was fine. 3 stars. It made me cry. Usually, when I cry in a book, I'm rating it much higher than this. I think also because I read Conditions of a Heart recently, which she isn't dying in that one, but she does have a chronic illness, right? And that's also, like, a big portion of the book is her trying to find her place in the world in romance while being sick, right? And that aspect was written better in that one. So I have comps for this book in which I like the writing personally more. Like, this one's still well written, but, like, I just like the writing that one more. Or the romance aspect I like more and whatnot. So it just didn't hit the same. And so 3 stars. I would like to say, don't do the audiobook. The audiobook's not good. The audiobook's not good. Okay. So Space 8. Oh my god, I just realized after this I can go change into sweatpants. Oh, thank god. My legs are killing me. It's an issue. We don't need to talk about it. I hate, listen, the issue is they're skinny jeans. That's why. If they were normal jeans, I got rid of all my normal jeans when skinny jeans got in the hype, and now I hate skinny jeans because I think my legs look weird and they're too tight most of the time, and right? So now I want, like, normal, like, mom jeans almost. But, like, I have, like, 10 pairs of skinny jeans. Which is annoying. Anyways, next book. Next prompt. This one's funny too. This one was one of the ones that took the longest because it took a lot of research. Because it is eyewitness, scene recommended. So a recommended book. And I thought, well, obviously, since this is Chloe's reading board game, I was gonna say challenge. Nope, it's a board game. I'm doing it as a challenge. I thought I would choose one of her books. Also, I want her to read The Boy with a Thousand Boy Kisses. There we go. 1,000 Boy Kisses. I think she would like it more than I did. Which sounds weird because it would make her cry. It is on her TBR. Anyways, so I was like, it'd be great if I picked a book from her, like, favorites, right? So at this point, I hadn't seen her 2024 favorites yet, so I went to it. I couldn't find one. There was one that I knew I wanted to do, which was Binding 13, I think is what it's called. Which I remember the weekly reading vlogs where she was reading those books. Like, I remember how much she was loving those, and I put them on my TBR immediately, and I want to read them, right? I do have the hold on the ebook right now, but it's going to take like multiple months to get here. There's no way it's getting here in time, right? And so then I went to her 2023 favorites, and most of them I had either read or they're Colleen Hoovers, and I'm not reading a Colleen Hoover. I don't care. The only one I will pick up is Verity, right? And even then, there's a good chance that I'm going to DNF it according to what somebody said, who I'm friends with, okay? So then I went to Goodreads. I went to her Goodreads and just scrolled through all her top rated, right? And I was just sitting there scrolling for like 5 minutes, and then I saw The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I think that's her name. You know, the book that everybody loves. This is like a romance that everybody loves, right? I think I just saw, who did I just see? Was it Becca? Yes, it was Becca. Becca in the books. Just read it for a shelf or scrap it, right? And she loved it. And so I'm gonna assume if she loves a romance, I'm gonna love a romance, because she is more picky about romances than I am, right? So, mixed with the fact that Chloe loved it, and so there's a good chance I'm gonna love it, and like everybody I've seen read this book loves this book. I think there's another YouTuber I've actually seen who read it recently or was talking about it recently and loved it. And so I would also like to know, I own this book. I own it on my Kindle. I own the e-copy. And so I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna start that today, finish it tomorrow, which is good. I love this for me personally, because me planning this out put a book I absolutely despised, a book that I enjoyed but destroyed me emotionally, then a great romance that I'm so excited to read. Oh my god, it has a lot of aspects of other romances that I've loved. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to read this book. And then I know the next one, the prompt of it means that it has to be a book that there's a high chance I may not like, right? And then there's a mid one, and then there's one I'm highly expecting to love. So, you know, planning me, thank you for this. Anyways, I'm gonna go read The Deal. It's not a hockey romance, right? Oh, it's fake dating. It's fake dating, that's right. Is it actually hockey? It says it is hockey. Oh my god. Woo. Yep. He is the bad boy, and she likes this guy who I think is on the team. So they make a deal where she tutors him, and he fake dates her, because the guy that she likes, right, only likes girls if they're hard to get. So by them fake dating, he'll notice her more, and she can help him get his GPS up. And also, I'm excited. 2015. Oh my god. You know, the benefit of doing this is that it's getting a lot of books from my deep depths of my TBR out of here. Like Scarlet. Oh my god, Scarlet has been in there. I didn't bring this up. Scarlet has been on my TBR since right after I created my Goodreads account. Like, it's been on my TBR for nearly 6 years. That's how long it was on my TBR. I put on my TBR in early December, and I created my account in mid-October of 2019. Anyways, I'm very excited to read this. There's a sequel, isn't it? The other one was Allie. Okay, Allie's the one that also liked it. I know, like, so many people have loved this. I guess Chloe technically already have 4.5, but we're going with it. I think it also has a sequel. It has 2 sequels? Oh, he has 5? His 5 books total? I had heard nothing about any of these. Apparently most people haven't, because the second one has half as many ratings as the first one. Anyways, I think this will be my first L. Kennedy. Fun fact. I'm gonna go read this. Well, I'm gonna watch YouTube to give myself some serotonin, and then I'm gonna read this. And this is what's gonna heal me emotionally. And I'm down. Let's go. This has been another long update. I really gotta stop doing those. Editing me is gonna hate me. It's not my fault if I have to pause because we're currently reading out, but I did finish the deal. I did it. I'm multitasking. Look at me multitask. I did it. Finally, I do. So there's an issue called A Bitch Me wants to read a specific book on Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow, which is 2 other books after this one. And it is just before 4 o'clock. That's fine. What is the deal? The deal is about 2 very traumatized people finding comfort and trust and understanding in each other and living happily ever after. And I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wait, it's good. Yeah, it's good. I wasn't gonna continue the series. I was like thinking about it, and then I was like maybe at like a later point, but I'm not gonna put it on my list, whatnot. And then I learned the most recent series that includes the Graham Effect, right? Which came out in 2023. That whole series is like a sequel series based off of the children of the initial series, and it follows their child. So I don't know, because I've heard good things about that one too. So I'll see what people say about the deal, or the rest of the deal series off campus. That's what it's called. Other things of note, I'm counting it as zine recommended for sure, because somebody who I hang out with and is also in my book club, I keep on wanting to call it the book cult because that's what we call it. She and I rate books very similar. Usually when I don't like a book in the book cult, the only other person who's there with me who's feeling mid or bad about it is her. We're usually within like half-star rating of each other. This is similar things happening. She rated the deal 5 stars, and when I told her I was reading it, she was very happy, told me I was gonna love it. She was right. I did love it. Thank you very much. Was I going through it? Yes. Did I keep on picking the book up and not want to put it down because I was having a lot of fun reading it? Yes. So, you know, good times. I've got like a minute before the read happens, so watch me talk a lot very fast to get this done before then. Anyways, book was good. I recommend. She rated it 5 stars. I'm rating it 4.5. Even despite the mood I was in, I was in the mood to read it. Loving it, right? Having a great time. Also, I realized at one point I was like 70 pages left, and I was stressing, panicking, trying to figure out what was gonna happen to break them up, running around. At one point, when it came to the point, like I thought I figured it out, but no, things were fine. And then his dad shows up, and I'm figuring it out in the moment, and I literally got up and ran around this coffee table and was silent screaming at the stream and having a great time. Anyways, 4.5 stars. I loved it. We'll see if I could do the series. Next book, next prompt is Cause of Death, which is a lowly rated book, which is the one that this book scares me. 10 seconds left. Ah, shit. Okay, pause for me. Alright, I'm back. Lowly rated. That is this one, because Cause of Death. This is the one, my internal rule for this, because there's another one of these in March for somebody else, a different reading board game. Not gonna do a whole video on that one. It's not a board game, but reading game. In which she said your book counts if you DNF it as long as you've read 50% or more. And so that was gonna be my internal rule for this. I was like, that makes sense, right? This is the one on this list that I was worried about, because it's a little bit longer than Scarlet. Scarlet was under 300 pages, just barely. So that was the only reason I was able to get through that bitch. This one, which is He Started It, is a good chunk longer. And also, the whole point of the prompt is that's lowly rated, so it's not well enjoyed. The average rating is a 3.48 when I made this list like 2 weeks ago. On Goodreads, which is pretty low. I think it's at least in the bottom 50 of my TBR, okay? I could have done the one where he fucks a dinosaur. The dinosaur husband makes me gay or something. I am heavily contemplating changing to that. Because at least that would be funny, and it's under 100 pages, and also could make a podcast episode out of it. But I won't. I'll do this. Which means I have to read like 200 pages of this bitch, at least. Though, I did manage to get my hands on the audiobook today. So there is that one benefit. Okay, we will approve of this message just because of that. I don't know how long the audiobook is. I have not checked yet. Mostly because I haven't lived what the deal is done yet and worked in all my things. It's fine. Fine. Listen, in my defense for wanting to read this, I've wanted to read this forever just because of the cover. I love the cover. So it's really pretty. Okay, it's just short of 10 hours. So I could do in like 2.5 hours. I can do it. I can do that easily. Easily. It's gonna take like 1.5 hours at least if I decide to DNF. So I can easily do that. Let's go. It's fine. It's not a problem. I have never read the synopsis of this. I did briefly glimpse at it to try to figure out why people dislike it. Should I do that actually now? I think what it is a thing where siblings get an inheritance from somebody and they don't talk anymore, but they all come together because inheritance, and one of them is a killer or something. Yet grandfather dies. And leaves cryptic final messages in the wake, so the siblings and the respective partners have to come together for a cross-country road trip. Maybe that's the issue that people had, the cross-country road trip. To get his inheritance. There's also something in the past of a missing person, act of revenge. A man in a black truck following you. And there's somebody's body is in the trunk. Okay. Okay, so Chandler didn't like it because she found it boring. It's probably on my TBR because of Lala reading it and reading it 4 stars. 2-star, couldn't wait for this road trip to end. Apparently the characters were awful. That would make sense. Chan was bored, but it makes sense for Lala's rating because Lala tends to not mind if the characters are unlikable, but a lot of people do hate that aspect in books. So if that's an aspect in the book where all the characters are unlikable, I can see why it's low rated. And sometimes I'm fine with it, so we'll see. We'll see. But at least I'm getting another book that's been on my TBR for way too long off. And then the next one should be an easy one because it is YA. So we can hope I may be able to get it done. Did I mention there's more streaming tomorrow? Anyways, I got reading to do. Save me. Why do I do this to myself? There's nobody to blame but myself. I'm the only one that wants to have all these done by tomorrow. I'm on schedule. I don't need to be like this. This is only my issue. It is 11:23. I look like a mess, but I just finished. He started it. Okay, so the dead body in the bunker card was just ashes. What I liked, the fact that it was counting down the days in the, like, throughout the book, it was like each chapter was 1 day, right? And it was counting down throughout the road trip until their destination, right? Liked that. That's it. The whole time it was giving me everyone in my family has killed somebody, you know, that one, which I apparently rated 3.5 stars. Wild. I think that's because that was like the first time I read a story like this where it's narrated by someone that you don't really trust, and it's telling you all this stuff from the past but also current day, as like there's a current day mystery but stuff happened in the past, and it's also family drama stuff, and Also, you know, at least some of these people are fucking crazy. Okay? Why is my toe bleeding? Do I have band-aids up here? I don't know. Excuse me as I put tissue paper on my bleeding toe. I don't know how I'm like this. Anyways, you know, it's very similar in that way, except I had read a book like that before, so it didn't affect me as much. So instead of a 3.5, it was a 3 the whole time. I was, for the most part, bored. When the first revelation happened, I was like, okay, that's interesting. But the rest of the time, I was just kind of bored. And then the end happened. That ending was not good. The ending was not good. 2 stars. Yeah. It was giving 3. And then like the first twist at the end, it was like that thing where one character goes, "Mwahaha, I'm the villain all along," and then another character goes, "Mwahaha, I've been the villain all along," and then another character comes out, and the original character goes, "Mwahaha, I've been the villain all along," and then the character that came out of nowhere goes, "Mwahaha, I've been the villain all along." And also none of it mattered. I'm just annoyed. 2 stars. I really gotta stop reading bad ones, though. At least I'm getting all these books out of my large TBR. Next one is one that's been sitting down here in piles for a long time, but I got it out for this, which is Identify the Victim, book in first-person POV. So what happened is that I googled a bunch of first-person POV books, and this one was on the list, and I was like, I own that one. It's like 300 pages. I can read that easily. I also managed to get my hands on the audiobook, so it will also be even faster. June. Is that what that says? I don't know what any of this is about. Okay, let's be honest. I saw this at the library book sale that I got a bunch of books at forever ago in a book haul. So I got it for like 2 cents. And the only thing I heard about it was that it's sci-fi, dystopian sci-fi. And people compared it to Hunger Games, kind of. Though I did say a review that was like, don't compare it, like they're 2 separate things type thing, which I get. Anyways, when I went to look up how long the audiobook is and whatnot, I went, her name sounds familiar. That's because I've read 2 books by her. The Warcraft duology. I read the Warcraft duology like 4 years ago. It's such a long time ago. And I think it's Sky Hunter. I also have on my TBR. Forgot about that. There's like a bunch of books that I just have on my TBR by her. I mean, it's 2, but you know, it just flipping through, it's giving me a little bit of was it 172 Hours on the Moon? Kind of giving that vibes, which I liked. Oh, is it June on the top? Because her name's June and his name is Day. Okay. Okay, so basically, I get the comparison a little bit of Hunger Games because it's gonna be a YA sci-fi dystopian that uses the whole story to tell you shit about politics. She's upper class from the Republic. Is that even, it is called the Republic, oh my god. Right, and she's being groomed to be like the best of the best and all this stuff. And Day is from the slums and nobody really cares about him. And he's kind of a wanted criminal and all this stuff. And the paths would never cross until her brother dies, is murdered, and Day is framed for it. And so now there's a game of cat and mouse that leads to secrets being revealed. It's given something I would totally read. I wish I knew about this. When did this come out? Also, the fact that this is a Scholastic copy just hits me right in the nostalgia. When did you initially come out? Oh my god, thank god. It says in the corner which POV it is, because that was the thing I had the deal. I don't know why I was having trouble where I would like turn the page and then I'd be like, wait a second, whose POV am I reading again? And have to go back. The boy who walks in the light. Okay, cool. Los Angeles, California, Republic of America, population 20 million 174,282. Oh my god. 2011. So I would have been 12 when this came out. I wish I'd read this when I was 15. I think I would have liked this when I was 15, though this is definitely something not this school would not tell me to read, so it makes sense why I didn't. Yay. Anyways, I'm excited for this one. One, story sounds interesting. Two, I've read something by the author, which I enjoyed. I think I gave both those books 3 stars. So that's what's going to be read tomorrow. I did have a late night coffee, and I would continue reading, except physical copies, so it makes it difficult. So I'm going to wait on that, and that's fine. Anyways, this is the next one. Good news is, with audiobook, I can read in like 2 hours tomorrow. And then I can read the one that I want to read tomorrow for Valentine's Day. I want to read at least 100 pages of it, and I think I can do it. I'm very excited for it. It's the one I'm most excited for this in the whole entire vlog, which is great because it's self-published. So, I mean, so was the deal, but the deal is well known. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed. Goodbye. Hello, hi, welcome to my 10:30 p.m. review of Legend. The past like 4 hours, 3 hours, have been very stressful. I think the adrenaline has worn off, and I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I wasn't this tired before this happened. I'm not gonna talk about what's happening, but it's wild. I love the day that people leave for the weekend is when it happens. It's great. Also, I'm watching friends play Stardew Valley and being jealous. How dare they not let you play with them? Bitches. Anyways, ignore the fact that I'm drinking coffee at 10:30 p.m. Legend. If I like this enough to keep it, for now I'm saying I am, because I knew what book I was going to replace it with on my shelves, and I do much prefer this one over that one. It's not quite 3.5. If I was doing quarter ratings, I would definitely do 3.25, but I'm not, so 3. But it is better than that one. I liked it more than that one. So I'm gonna replace that one with this one on my shelves. At the end of the quarter and whatnot, as I do. And if I find another physical YA book that is this size and end up replacing it later, so be it. But I'm not mad that I read it. I enjoyed it. Now you may be like, you rated it 3 stars. Do you really need to read another series? Like, do you really need to put on your series? And hear me out. It was kind of predictable at points. If I was like 15, 16 when I was reading this, I think I would have liked it a lot more. Hear me out. Was it predictable? Yes. Was their relationship kind of very fucking dumb? My favorite part was like the first time they kissed, I went, oh my god, no, why? Because she didn't know that he was him, right? And she was on the search for him. And then like 2 minutes later, it's him. Aspects I like. It heavily hints at the fact that he wasn't the one to kill her brother, like, when it happens. When he throws the knife, it registers with him as him hitting the shoulder, not checking if he's alive, but like thinking there's no way he could have killed him, all this stuff. And then, when next thing you know, he's dead, and there's a knife in his chest. Something doesn't click there. Something doesn't click there. Right, you're immediately clocking. Also, like the first thing she learns when one of the first things she learns when she learns her brother is dead and is going to see the body is it was purposely thrown to kill him, was what they said. And like one of the last things we hear from Day's POV in the previous chapter, right after it happened, was that he purposely tried to not kill him. That's a little suspicious. Obviously, he wasn't the one who did it. It was very obvious that he wasn't the one to do it, and I like the fact that we knew it wasn't him, because then I could stand behind everything that happens in this book more. Character-wise, hear me out. Character-wise, the relationship is what I'm bored with. Honestly, if the relationship wasn't here, this would be a 3.5. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't make sense to me. I get that they're like opposites, but also very similar. Like they're parallels of each other. They're both like the smartest people, blah blah. But he's the one from the slums, so he was like the system abused him, and so because of that, he was thrown away like trash and experimented on, and all this other stuff happened. Meanwhile, she gets to go to like the best school ever, early and graduate early and be top marks and a soldier early and all this stuff. So, you know, I get what was happening there, but I don't like the relationship because it makes no sense. Hear me out. She caused the death of his mother, and it's way too fast, especially since like through a good portion of this book she believes that he killed her brother, who is her only living family member. So, you know, also, one, what happened to our dog? Two, I know his older brother died, but, like, I'm pretty sure they're scientifically experimenting on his younger brother, so why are they going to Las Vegas and not getting that fucker? I'm just saying. Anyways, I say all this, but the actual plot aspect, I'm enjoying. I'm intrigued by the numbers. What's going on with the numbers? I'm intrigued by that. Seems interesting. And yeah. And I want to know more about these secrets. And also, what it is that her father figured out right before he quit and then was murdered and covered up. Along with her mother. Like a decade earlier. Like, what happened there? I'm intrigued. Like, we know that they framed him for her brother's murder because he was looking into that and he figured something out. And we don't know exactly what he figured out, but like, so there's like a bunch of stuff going on here. Intriguing. Also kind of a thing, for, you know, the two smartest people in the universe, technically, they do make a lot of dumb decisions. And I get they're teenagers, but God, why are you just making out? Like, this is not the time to be kissing them. Like, you learn that one of your closest friends, the closest thing you have to a family anymore, and the guy you've had a crush on for however long, is the guy who murdered your brother and framed this guy. And also, your parents' death was a cover-up and murder. And you just go and kiss this other man? Like, girl. So, 3 stars, but I do want to continue and see what happens. So, it's on the low level of continue series, but it's there. Anyways, I wanted to finish this by, like, noon today. If it didn't happen. So that I could read 100 pages of the next book today. I may start it. I may go to bed. Honestly, I'm so exhausted. I may just go to bed. I know I'm drinking coffee right now, but once the adrenaline left my system, I'm tired. I may hint at them letting me play Stardew Valley with them. We'll see. We'll see what's happening. Good news is that after today, I do have to take a break from the second weekend reading vlog of this month. That's already out by the time you see this. Sorry, I just realized how close to this vlog being done, and it's fine. It's fine because I know the last page of this is the next page, which is the last page of all the books, is all really short books. or a manga series. For the most part. So it's fine. That's gonna be easy. Okay. Anyways, I am gonna have to take a break to record that, and I do have the audiobook of that book. So like, start doing it tomorrow? No, I don't have time. Anyways, what's the next one? The whole reason I wanted to do this today, so I could today, Valentine's Day is today. I could read this book that I have in my lap, which is another physical one. The prompt is Always the Husband. If you watch True Crime, which is read something that either romance or something that has a romance subplot in it, right? I could have done a romantasy. I recognize this, but I chose this one. There's a later on one that was it earlier? The earlier one, the one that was Where the Dark Stands Still with a person on the cover. I did think it would be very funny if I chose the book that's just a shirtless man. I did think that would be very funny. I didn't do that, but yeah, this is a book I own, basically. So somebody who occasionally is in the group that I run the book club for, his wife is a writer. I think it's self-published. And so he, well, we learned about that. We were like, info, we need more. I think this is her first book. Anyways, I was like, oh, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Next time I get Kindle Unlimited, I'll read it, right? Because normally I get like a free trial or whatever. And then, this is when I was on vacation, by the way. So my sister had to hide it until I got back. And then one of the other people was like, hey, because the normal cover is just like a guy's feet ice skating. Because it is a hockey romance. It's another hockey romance. He was like, I want to support too, but I don't want a book with a shirtless man on my shelves. Which valid. I get it, man. So he gifted it to me. He bought it for me, and now I own it. And I'm so happy with this. Oh my god. I'm so excited. This is a male, female fantasy. Or fantasy. What? Hockey romance.
Hey, guess what? It's editing me back again. Yes, I edited this over multiple days. Shut. Yes, this is the day it's supposed to go up. 8 minutes before it's supposed to go up. Okay, yeah, no. It's gonna be late. I'm here to inform you. Yeah, I cut this clip early. Because I talked for like another 3 minutes about Power Play. Fun fact: I read the first few chapters. I think 3 chapters, a chapter from each of the POVs, which rounds to like 14 to 17 pages, something like that. And then I put it on hold because I knew I didn't have time to read it and also everything else, which is accurate. So I switched it to a manga volume. I will talk more about that in the next clip, but just so you know, I cut out a chit of me just talking about this book that I am excited to read, and I do plan to read in March. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna read it. It's just not in this.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I put Power Play on hold, because life stuff happened. I read 17 pages of it Sunday. Saturday, I had to film a whole other vlog, which I did. Sunday, I read 17 pages of it, but I had a horrible migraine all day, so I didn't read it anymore and just watched YouTube all day. And then Monday, still had a migraine and wasn't feeling great. Oh my god, Skater Boy just came out and I'm not listening to it. That's rude. And so I like literally didn't read anything until 9 p.m. Last night, Monday night, because I wasn't feeling good. And then I started stressing about it, and I could sense the reading slump coming on if I didn't choose something else for this prompt, because, and hear me out, normally what I would do is I would go and get the audiobook and then dual read it, but because it's self-published, there's no audiobook, at least yet. So I went, oh no, I'm enjoying it, but I put it down and went, okay, what's something fast that I can have my hands on? I was like scrolling through all the audiobooks of romances on Libby, but none of them were like intriguing. And then I remembered I have like 3 volumes of Yona right now alone. Yona of the Dawn. So I read the 10th volume of Yona of the Dawn today for this prompt. Listen, it's fine. Yona of the Dawn, I love it. It's great. 4 stars. I've rated every volume so far 4 stars. This is same as all the others. You may be like, romance? How's that romance? It's like a fantasy political intrigue manga. And I say there's romance subplots so it fits. One, because there's the romance of Yona and Hawk in the background throughout the whole entire series so far. But also, this one follows the second son of the Fire Tribe chief, who everybody just thinks he isn't like good enough and isn't worth anything and all this stuff, right? And so he's been sent to track down the bandits, which is actually Yona and her group, right? With the understanding that either that he can't come back until he catches them, with the understanding that either he will die out there or he will just fail his job and never come home and can't embarrass them anymore, right? And so previously in like volume 4, he had a thing for her, for Yona, and he almost kills Hawk, and in order to save Hawk, she sacrifices herself. And so he thought that Yona was dead, right? It was this whole thing, so he was blaming himself for her death, and it's like very heavily like he's romanticizing the idea of her in his head, because he caused her death, and she was the princess that he was supposed to marry, so that like that was his one purpose, right? As the second son was to marry her so that he could become king and all this stuff, right? There is a scene, early like flashback scene, where we learn how Hawk became Yona's personal guard, which is basically this prince, who is like 10 years older than her, when she was like 13, 12, 13. He tried to be like, you are mine, nobody else can have you, trying to grab onto her and stuff, and she was not into it. I was freaking out, and her and Hawk were hanging out, as the kind of son of the, or grandson of the, I think it's Air tribe, I don't remember. And so he was also there in the area, and so he's all like, hey, she told you she didn't want that, and fights him off. And then because of that because that's how he got that job. So, you know, he's not the best guy. So basically the first like 2 chapters of this volume are him trying to figure out if she's actually alive, thinking that he's hallucinating hearing her voice, but learning that she's actually alive, and then seeing her be a good person, being like, hey, maybe I should try being a good person. All because of his love for her. I say love, it is infatuation, it is nothing more. Hawk would agree with me. Hawk clocks that shit so fast, and he's like, no siree, no siree. Anyways, because of that, he is making the Fire Tribe a better place for the people in general, trying to make her proud. And so she leaves the Fire Tribe in control of him, as the bandits are leaving, to get stuff for this village, or for this tribe, to survive better and all this stuff. And because of the way that she is now, listen, the time when she shoots a bird just out of the sky, just randomly, just like, whoop, she's like, what the hell? Also, she does threaten to shoot him on sight. He does not react to that. He's just like, what? So, you know, fun times. But seeing how she has changed as a person, it is more about the people and less about like the fancy foods and nice new dresses and all this stuff, is making him realize everything that the Fire Tribe has been doing wrong, and how it's harming the people, and how it's his job as the son of the Fire Tribe leader to help them out and all this stuff. And so he's trying to trick his soldiers into helping them by saying that they're gonna make the place better to show the bandits what's what. Kind of funny. Anyways, 4 stars. I love it. Next prompt. Let's go. Am I stressed because I have technically a week to do this? Yes. Thank you for noticing. Did I mention that all day yesterday? All I did was watch all of season 2 of Supernatural and half season 3. I have issues. The good news is soon we will be on our Tokyo Ghoul run. So, you know, that's fun. And I know there's a fast audiobook coming up next, and soon there's one that I can dual read in. Ooh, at least past me planning, me recognize that I was gonna need Tokyo Ghoul at this point. Anyways, Space 12, Prompt 12 is DNA evidence, which is read a book with family prominent in the story. The way that he started it could count for this as well. But no, I'm going to do We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I say that, I did start it. Technically yesterday. Not talking about it. I read like 5%. I barely even got anywhere into the first chapter, okay? So I didn't read much. So far it is this family has always lived in this mansion house, very gothic, right? And I think her name is like Mary Kate. No, not Mary Catherine. No, Catherine's her sister. Mary something with K, I swear. She's like the only one in the family that's alive that will go into town. So she goes into town once a week to get library books and to get food. She lives with her sister and her uncle, and I'm getting weird creeper vibes from the uncle, okay? But like they run the house now, and everybody in the village or in the town doesn't like the family for whatever reason and are scared to go on the grounds. And their family owns a large portion of land, so that's like a whole thing. Yeah, it's like got this weird gothic vibe, and it's about family, I assume. I don't know, I was just looking up books about family. It took me a little bit to find one, and this one was on the list, and I'm like, I can count that as classics. Did I bring down my classics goal for the year down from 10 to 5? Yes. And bring my nonfiction one up from 10 to 25? Yes. I don't know why I'm in a nonfiction mood, but I am. So like, you know, good times. I know what 4 of the classics are gonna be, and this is one of them. So yeah, no, that's what I'm reading now. I will update you when I finish it. Goodbye. I'm tired. I need more coffee. It's 2 p.m. Oh no. Okay. I got other work I gotta do, and then I'll make progress in that. Good news is I can just read on my phone. Let's go. Oh hi. I'm trying to offer you a range of angles or views here, and yet no matter what, this flare is happening. The other option was it through my face. So, anyways, I finished We Have Always Lived in This Castle. Is that the name of it? I would like everyone to know that the next book is the one that I switched with the Tokyo Ghoul. It's helping. I switched it with Tokyo Ghoul so that I could read the next book. But because of that, the volume of Tokyo Ghoul was going to be due soon. So I read that this morning first thing. And there was like a whole entire chapter that is the main character's background, in which we learn about his family. And that could have fit for this, and I liked it much more than I liked this. I contemplated switching it out, but then I was like, no, I'm already like 5% in, I should just finish it. And then around 50% through, I was like, I should have just done it. But I was too far in. Because at that point I had the audiobook as well, so I could just finish it in less than an hour. But yes, I read it. 2 stars. I was switching between 2 and 2.5 for my rating, but my initial reaction as soon as I finished it, it went to label as Done as Fable. I immediately labeled it as 2, and so I went, I guess I'll stick at 2. So that is my thoughts. I just don't think Shirley Jackson is for me. I don't think her books are for me. Because was it Haunting of Hill House also hers? I also rated 2 stars, and I did in theory like this one more. It's just I was not having a good time, and I was sending the fish voice messages of me being like, imagine your house burns down and your uncle dies of a heart attack, and as all this is happening, right, Oh, and your crazy gold digger cousin who's trying to marry you runs off as soon as something goes wrong, right? And while all this is happening, all the people of the village come and just smash up what's left of your house. Everything you own. Just smash it up. And then the next day, a lady comes to your house and goes, maybe they misunderstood what the people were doing. It's not that big of a deal. I did guess who the real killer of the family is. Basically, everyone in their family was murdered by poison a few years ago. Right. And so, because that's why everybody hates them, right? Especially her sister, because as far as everybody knows, Constance did it. I know who did it. I know who did it. I guessed it long before the book told me, and I went, yeah, it's kind of obvious, because we're in her head. And within like 5 pages, she's thinking about walking over everybody's bodies. I mean, validly for her part, they are bullying her and harassing her when she's just trying to, buy food. So I get it, but I wonder, I got this weird idea that maybe they're ghosts in the end haunting the house, but I don't think ghosts need to eat that much or would spend that much time cleaning up the house. Anyways, my also favorite thing is that the whole family died by poisoning of food, right, with sugar. And so near the end, when the people of the village apologize, one, because children just like show up at their doorstep now because they can, nobody's afraid to go there anymore, show up at their doorstep and like taunt them and whatnot. So then like the parents will leave them like eggs or like there was this one guy who smashed a bunch of their chairs and he apologizes by bringing them freshly baked pie that his wife made and all this stuff, or a whole roasted chicken. And I'm just saying, if everybody in the village hates on you and bullies you because they think you poisoned your whole family, I wouldn't eat anything that those people would give me. Hear me out? No. I did like how Charles, I think his name is, the cousin did get his fuck you. That was great. That's it. Like, I don't know. There was like good ideas there, but none of the follow through was in a way that I enjoy. And I don't know, because I've heard good things about the lottery, or I've heard things about the lottery, period. And so I thought maybe one day I'll read it, but maybe not, based on my track record. We'll see. At a later point. Anyways, the next prompt is Senior Detective, published 2+ years ago. I would like everybody to know, I did check when the whole debacle of me trying to figure out when to make Hellbent happen because of how I was gonna have my audiobook and ebook both from Libby return before their initial prompt for it. I forget what prompt it was. I think it was sequel. Yeah, it was the sequel one. So because that's so much further down here on this last page, I had to figure out where to switch it to, and I did check, and it was published January something in 2023. So that's 2+ years ago. I'm counting it. I'm reading Hellbent. I don't know how long it is. At least my copy is. I know in general the ebook is usually over 400 pages. So that's fine. And the audiobook I know is like just short and 16.5 hours. 16, not 60. So it's gonna take me a long time. And since I have it on Libby and not Hoopla, I did that on purpose. Because Hoopla, generally if I have the audiobook on Hoopla, I will speed up more because my Chrome extension that speeds up stuff can make it go up to, I think 5 times speed is the max on that thing. So I can make Hoopla audiobooks go really fast, but Libby ones, it doesn't work on there, so I can only make them go up to 3 times speed the normal Libby speed. And I know my normal natural point at this point, because I'm a little bit behind, I'm very stressed about it, all this stuff, would be to make it, especially since I think I'm going down with the cold, would make it 4 times speed at little, like, least. Especially since I also have the ebook, so I'd be dual reading, right? Because that's what I did with Ninth House both times. But I also recognize that I got more the second time I read Ninth House because I was able to pay attention more because I'd already read it. So like the shocking parts were like I already knew those, so I could pay attention to the actual lore and important stuff, right? And so by making it so I can only listen to at 3 times speed, that won't be a problem this time around. I can pay attention better. I swear that's not a normal problem for me. It's just with Ninth House I had that issue. So I didn't have that issue with Six of Crows duology. And I listened to a lot of audiobooks really fast. We've always lived in the castle. That one, I like 4.5 at one point because I was very bored and tired and I was done with it. And I had like 2 chapters left and I was like, please get me out of here. So, anyways, that's the plan. I'm gonna read that one. The plan, because the girl's running out of time. Because I also have to edit this. And there are some that I can read like multiple in one day. Right? So I'm trying to mentally figure this out in my head. So I think the plan is to read like the first hour audiobook. Hour. Right? Audiobook. Today, at least. And then tomorrow finish it and start the next one. At least I know we have, after the next one, we have 2 short ones and then one that I was also able to get the audiobook. So that one's also going to be fast. And then 2 short ones again. Okay, after the next one, they're all pretty short and fast and easy because they're either manga or I have the audiobook as well. Or just the audiobook. Let's go, I can do it. We're on the time crunch, but I can do it. I'm a little high. I finished Hellbent. Despite the fact that people are trying to distract me with Stardew Valley. And listen, I think because I'm the one person who's reached perfection, I am very particular. So the urge to just start my own farm. Again, I have like 16. I don't need it. Also, no one worry, I just need to read 2 books a day to finish this on time. We're doing fine. It's okay. The good news is, this next one, I also got the audiobook up. So I have audiobook and or it's manga for every single one that's left. And that's fine. Anyways, gotta mark Hellbent as read. My review is 3.5 stars. Kind of a letdown, honestly. I may spend time after this looking up what's the word about a sequel because that didn't feel like an ending. Because like I was thinking about it, where Six of Crows duology, like the ending didn't feel like an ending, but like it felt like an ending for the characters but not the universe, and that was fine with me because one, I knew there was a spin-off series, right? Especially since like at that point I knew that Nina is in that spin-off series, so I was like, okay, that's fine, that's whatever, makes sense. But like it definitely felt like a solid ending for a lot of characters, especially my children, Kaz and Inej. Well, basically every character that isn't really Nina, but that made sense with Nina. I was fine with that because she's confirmed in the spin-off series. So I was like, okay, whatever. And so knowing the fact that possibly someday, maybe, there's going to be a third Six of Crows book, I'm fine with that, but I'm also fine if that doesn't happen because it felt like a good closing for these specific characters in this universe. Now, there's a similar thing, as far as I know, with Ninth House, where there's like maybe someday going to be a third one. But this didn't feel like a closing for the characters, for the universe. There's no spin-off. I don't... Like, it didn't feel like an ending. Like, I would have been fine if this was, like, confirmed the second book in a 3-book series or something. I had a similar issue with the second Blood Debts book, where, like, a 3rd book isn't on Goodreads or anything, so I had to, like, straight up Google, and, like, in one random interview he talked about how it was confirmed going to be a 3rd book, and I didn't know that until, like, 3/4 of the way through the book, so the whole time I was like, this doesn't feel like an ending. Why is nothing happening? Like, it doesn't feel like it's coming to a close. And so...
Hey, she's back. She's back. I forgot that I left this part for editing me to do the work. Honestly, why me? I have been flipping myself off multiple times. Like, have fun editing that out. Haha. Anyways, Ninth House, 3rd book, yes. Very similar to Blood Debts, which is why I'm putting this here, because I just talked about Blood Debts, how this was a thing where, like, the whole time, as far as I knew, there were 2 books, and it was a 2-book series, and then around halfway through, I looked up, and in, like, one interview, he had mentioned, that there was a deal for a 3rd one. Right. And so I went, oh, okay, there's a 3rd one at some point. We just don't know when, and it's not even on Goodreads yet. Same thing happening here, where I went to Google it, and she said in an interview, I want to say end of last year, that, there is a third one, and she is working on it. It just takes a lot of research, which makes sense. Honestly, for the books, it makes sense. And so it's going to take some time. And then, then I was looking at a bunch of Reddit posts about it. This is like the only reason I go on Reddit. Let's be real about it, and how for her goals for 2025, writing and publishing and whatnot. A third book in the series was on the list, was on the bottom list. So like, if it is priority order, it's like bottom of the priority. Okay, right? And all this stuff. And so basically, I'm going to talk for a little bit about why this kind of ruined the enjoyment of the book. Not really ruined the enjoyment of the book for me, but it didn't feel good reading it, right? It didn't feel satisfying to read, and whatnot. And I'm gonna stand by this point because I low-key have a little bit of an issue with this because there was like over a year, like there was a good chunk of time, like we still don't know if there's gonna be a third Six of Crows book. We just assume there's gonna be one, as far as I know, right? So like, but it's fine because that ending is satisfying. I'm gonna stand on this until I'm dead. Okay, that ending is satisfying. Crooked Kingdom does not feel like a middle book, all this stuff, right? But with Ninth House, there's an opposite issue because there was over a year where this was a definite ending, where we didn't know there was gonna be a third book, right? And so like the fact that this is the ending, especially since I know a lot of people were really clever hellbent and immediately read it when it came out, and this was the book they got. That was supposed to be the satisfying ending, because as far as they knew, it was. It makes me feel some kind of way. I am sure there's probably something in the background where to sign a deal for the third one, right? She had to prove that there were going to be enough readers for it, so they were waiting until book 2 came out, and she had to like prove what she was going to make it and all this stuff. I'm sure there's some like behind the scenes reasons why this happened. I'm just annoyed. A girl's just annoyed at this point, and yeah. Like the outside of the actual book stuff is making the actual book more annoying than it already was. It was already pretty annoying. Okay, and unsatisfying. And that's my thoughts on it. Anyways, back to rambling me about how unsatisfying this book is.
I think she did attempt to do an ending here for some of the characters. Like, it definitely feels like her relationship with a lot of these characters, Alex's, it feels like it should have been an ending for, like, Detective Turner and all this stuff. But, like, it didn't feel like in a way that was satisfying, just in case she decides to do another book. Alex and Darlington's ending, definitely not, like, an actual ending. So, like, it just feels weird because it feels like it's missing something, but, like, there's no known set anything for a next book. So I'm just sitting here, like, what? And then on top of that, the mystery aspect, isn't as good as in the first one, right? The whole point of this one is to get Darlington back from hell. And kind of technically they do that very, like, within 100 pages. And then they have to go into hell multiple times to get him out. But just his soul, because his body's back, but kind of his soul is back. It was so complicated for no reason. I was confused. The murder mystery aspect, I mean, I already said it wasn't as good as in the first one, but it felt like she was repeating a murder mystery aspect that was in the first one, just to be like, hey, this was in the first one, so, like, that was just like, hear me out, multiple people are murdered in this book, and there is a murder mystery aspect with it, but that felt like the F plot. Like, I don't there was more of a plot with her roommates than there was with the murder mysteries that one of the main characters is a center in, because that's his literal job. And he also doesn't seem to care. But the fact that that felt like it was just, they just came across the answer at the end. Like, it didn't actually feel like they achieved learning the answer of the killer and whatnot. So 3.5 stars. Let down. What the hell was that? I would honestly be fine with that if it was the middle book. Like, it's giving me middle book syndrome. But as far as I know, there's no news on the next one, so I'm just confused. Anyways, that's done. I was gonna say I think that's the longest one, but no. My copy of Iron Flame was twice as long, so whoops. Anyways, Space 14. We got so much more to do for him. Space 14 is suspect identified, which means name in the title. I assume character name. I guess it could be place name. I think she said place name could also work. And I recognize in my head that I could totally do Yona of the Dawn again. I already have multiple copies from the library. I could do it. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, Because of Miss Bridgerton. Which is, I believe, a series that came out after the original series, right? And it's a prequel series. So, characters I don't know 2 things about. Okay, where's the copyright page? Where's the copyright page? Okay, yeah, came out in 2016. I'm pretty sure it was early 2000s or it was the 90s when The Duke and I and The Viscount Who Loved Me came out. I have read The Duke and I, didn't like it. I only read it so that I could read The Viscount Who Loved Me because I really loved season 2 of Bridgerton. And then I DNF'd that one. They're not good in my. I get people who like them. They're just not romances that I enjoy. There's something in the way that she writes the main characters, the heroes, the love interest, that makes me not like, it's the specific way I don't like them to be in romances. Like, right? Like, if I'm making sense. And so you may be like, bitch, why the fuck are you reading this? That's because I bought this back when I thought about reading the initial series forever ago. I think I bought this like 5 years ago. Yeah, it would have been in 2020 from a thrift store, so it probably cost me like 50 cents, $1. And so I am going to read it because I own it physically, and then I'm going to put it in my unhaul pile and never think about it again. Because despite how you can see them over there, that's them. That's one of them. There's another one behind it. Despite how tall that's getting and how it's teetering, I don't think about that. We don't worry about that. Anyways, I also have the audiobook of it. So I think dual reading, I should be able to just force my way through this bitch and move on with my life. It's not very thick. Like, I won't be surprised if it's less than 300 pages. 291. The epilogue ends on 291. So I'm gonna speed read this. The audiobook's like just over 9 hours, so it should take me 3 hours to read this bad boy. And then I can move on with my life. Right? Never think about this book again. Have a great time with that. And just accept that Julia Quinn's writing, not for me. And never read another one. Hello. Hi. I come to you in my pink hoodie. Days later to inform you I finally finished it. Remember that day where I updated you on Hellbent? That was Friday. I read 1 page of this. Only because I had already labeled it as currently reading. And then spent the rest of the night playing Stardew Valley with friends. Some more. I think I already talked about how I was playing with friends. Oh no. It's Sunday at 3:30 p.m. You may be recognizing an issue where I have prompts 15 through 20 still. And we're fine about this. We're fine. There's no issues. So, good times. What happened is yesterday I woke up not feeling great, so I spent all day doing nothing until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then I went, shit, I should get something done. So I read the first half of this. And then this morning I woke up feeling like shit. So I laid in bed until 11. It's fine. In my defense, the dog was cuddling me. I couldn't move. She was on my feet. And now, so that was happening. And then I didn't actually pick it up until like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I finally finished it. And my review is, yeah, okay, it's a thing. I don't mind that I read it. And I'm not mad that I bought it because it like cost me like $1 max. So at that price, I'm not mad about it, right? I have talked to the fish a bunch about this book through voice messages, so I'm trying to like organize all my thoughts. I was telling them as I was reading this for the past 24 hours, into you content. Basically, I think part of the reason why I like this so much, one, their whole dynamic, is my favorite parts of Kate and Anthony show version, okay, which is my favorite season of the show. So the whole, both of them being the older sibling aspect, and like in this one, Billy does have a brother, but he's much younger than her. Like, I want to say he's 15, so he's 8 years younger. Right? There were like a lot of years where there was no heir. It was like she was the only child, right? So she was raised to take care of the estate just in case. And so she does that. She does all that for her father. And then he's the eldest son of like 4 sons. So while his brothers get to go off and be soldiers and fight for king country, I do have thoughts and videos about that. He is out here having to do none of that, not being able, like, there was this whole thing where, like, part of the reason why he doesn't like her, and isn't as close with her as his brothers is because his brothers and her siblings, well, mostly her, played together as children. But, he wasn't allowed to do that because, like, they would all be, like, jumping, off trees or doing a bunch of stuff, leaping on horses. And so, he wasn't allowed to do that because he's the eldest son. He's the heir to the earldom, all the stuff. And so he always felt kind of distant to them. But now he's the eldest son. He's going to inherit all this. He does all the work for the family. Very Benedict, except his father's alive. But very, Antony, not Benedict, very Antony. And then, like, her being the eldest child and, having to take care of the family, feeling like she has to take care of the family because of that, is very Kate. And so it's my favorite aspects of that season. Well, my favorite aspects of their specific characterization, why they are a great couple, why they are supposed to be together in the show, is in this. But also, this came out in like 2016. I think I already talked about this. Good lord, can I record a clip one time without my camera going backwards, sliding backwards? Anyways, this was written like 2016. I don't remember when The Duke and I came out, but it was like early 2000s. I'm pretty sure book 2, The Viscount Who Loved Me, was 2001. 2002. I really hope you can hear my lobby yelling for Bella to come inside. So she has like a decade and a half of experience since then on her writing. And so it's slightly better writing mixed with aspects from my favorite season of the show. That is why I liked it. Is there a part where one of the younger brothers is missing in action? I know he's fine because he is the love interest in one of the future books. Also at the end of the book, they literally get a letter saying he's fine. But that's like a whole thing in this book. And so his other brother, who's home because he broke his arm, so he can't really be fighting right now, is like confronting him, being like, what do you know about fighting for your king and country and all this stuff, right? Because you were never allowed to, haha. Like, a cool flex, I guess. And to prove his point, he's like, well, I bet you don't know there's savages over there. Yeah, we got to some blatant racism in this one. I get the times that it takes place in, but this is the thing I don't like about Julia Quinn's books, where there's misogyny, sexism, classism, racism, any of that stuff, blatantly in the books, especially with like a love interest or something, and it's supposed to be fine. She, says it's fine because it's of the times. It's okay because it's of the times. And I'm just like, but there was literally no reason for that fucking line. And this whole book would have been fine. Like, there's a little bit of misogyny in the beginning. But like, there's points where, from his point of view, where he is all like, she's not she's a well-bred lady, but she doesn't act like one. And, oh my god, she rides horses while wearing pants. How could she? Right? But, like, only, like, 2 chapters later, he's in his head thinking about how, and we're in his head, where he's thinking about how, yeah, but that's just, like, Billy, and he wouldn't want her to be any different way. There's multiple points where she's, like, being forced to be, like, the proper primp lady, and he's all like, this isn't Billy. This isn't who she is as a person. Stop trying to change her. There's points where she complains about how people view her because she's not your proper primp lady, and despite what everybody wants from her, that's just not who she is, and she'll never fit into that mold. And it's very clear she's kind of anxious about this, right? And he agrees with her that, yeah, that's not her, and he in his head is thinking the arguments on why she's not a proper lady. He used to make those same arguments, right, on why he doesn't like her, but like, those are his favorite aspects about her, and he wouldn't want her to change. And like, even at the end when they're like agreed to get married and whatnot, and he's thinking about their future children, and he's all like, hey, if the daughters want to shoot guns and ride horses and do whatever, they can do whatever the hell they want because they're their mother's children. And despite the fact that she's not a classy lady, she would be a great mother and also a great, what's the female version of Earl? I don't remember. But she'd be great at that because she has so much experience running her father's estate and all the land. It just makes sense that she'd be great at it working with him too. And he like not only lets her continue doing that for her father until her brother gets older and take over for her, but also is all like, no, if you want to help me do the same shit for my estate, I'm fine. Like, do it. You're good at it, right? And they both like doing that. Right? So like the misogyny, I can let aside because like that's part of his character arc. But the racism. I mean, anyways, 3 stars. It's fine. Once the wrap up is done, it's going in the unhaul pile, though not bad that I read it, okay? That's my thoughts on that one. Next up, book 15. I'm gonna read all these. It's fine. Most of these are manga. The ones that aren't manga, I have audiobooks of. There's like one full-length novel that I'm gonna dual read, and the other 2 I have just the audiobook of. Speaking of, that's also the next one. Space 15 is questioning time, and it's a question in the title. I literally had 2 books on my DBR that could fit this prompt. One of them a novella that I couldn't get my hands on in time, and the other one being Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Which is a nonfiction. This is part of the reason why I upped my nonfiction goal for the year, because I think, I mean, even before I changed the last one, I think it was, 2? Yeah, even before I changed the last prompt, what the book is going to be for that one, it was 2 nonfictions, and I'd already read a different nonfiction before I started this, and I had read multiple last month already. Like, I don't know what's going on with me in nonfiction, but that's a good time for this. Basically what I understand is a woman who works, is she a mortician? Something like that. Somewhere in the death field. I think she has a YouTube channel. I don't know. She has like multiple books apparently. I just learned that like 2 days ago. Okay. She writes books about death to kind of talk about the destigmatization of death and whatnot. And this one is about questions that kids usually ask her, and what the answers are, hence the title. And you know, seems like an interesting enough book. Like, this seems like the type of book that I would enjoy, I guess. In case you don't know, my mother did work in a funeral home / crematorium. Like, she actually put the bodies in the furnace, for many years. So, like, and so did, like, I think both her parents also worked for funeral homes and whatnot at points in their lives. Like, it's just a thing that's been a part of my life since I was, like, 12, okay? So, like, I don't, in theory, I would find this book interesting, if nothing else. But I would like to remind everybody of that book that I read, or tried to read, was that August or September of last year? It was when I was on vacation. They managed to have a physical copy of this woman who's a mortician that she wrote about her experience being a female mortician, and it wasn't good. So I'm scared, but the audiobook is like 4.5 hours long. It's gonna take me no time at all. Okay, I could read that book in like an hour and a half. An hour if I really want to. It's on Hoopla, so I can speed up to 4 times speed. With ease. So that one. I gotta read that one really fast, and then we get a manga, and then I want to make progress through the only other full-length novel. Let's go. We can do this. We can do this. I say it's me. And by the time you see this, this will have been 2 days ago, and it will all be done. It's fine. I just won't sleep tomorrow night if I have to. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Hi, I'm a girl who's head out in power play. I know I didn't finish doing this, but that doesn't mean fall. I need to I'll put it down here, I guess. Head owie. I tried everything in my power, but it's too strong. It's defeating me. I'm going to bed. It's like 9:30. It's so strong that I forgot to bring up the worst sex scene, one of the worst sex scenes I've ever read. That wasn't because of Miss Bridgerton, but it's too late now. We're not talking about it. Just know it was bad. There was one, and it was bad. And I have strong thoughts and opinions. And I spent like 10 minutes of my life talking about it with the fish. To the point where now I may just read it as it is for fun later. Because why not? I have like 4 extra days of reading this month, so you know, we get 4 days to read what you want. Anyways, will my cat eat my eyeballs? 3 stars, I guess. I don't know. It's one that I feel weird rating because there's like nothing technically wrong with it. And I did like the writing style, and the fact that she uses comedy to kind of lessen the aversion that people have with death, to bring the reader's guard down, so that when she's talking about these like sometimes gruesome things like animals eating your body, but also like cannibalism, and stuff like that, it like it makes sense, and I get why it's done that way, and I liked it, I guess. I don't feel like rating it 4 stars. I don't think it was 4 star. I saw a review where somebody rated it 3 stars because it's a children's book, or it's written for children, and I'd like to question that strongly. I get the point is that these are a bunch of questions that children have asked her, right? And so like it's a good book if your child asks you these questions, and then you can listen to or read her response and then give the generalized edition answer, because it's I hear me out. I don't think telling an 8-year-old about all the reasons that a body bloats is, you know, smart. Wait until they're like 13, 14, okay? Like if I saw a 13, 14-year-old reading this book, I'd be like, okay, sure. But younger than that, no. You have to go through puberty before you can read this book. Thank you very much. I don't think this is children's books. Maybe I can kind of see if the humor, maybe somebody would think, hey, this is more for children, because of that. But like, don't think so. I think part of the reason why this is a 3 and a 4 for me is because a lot of the stuff in this book I kind of already knew, which means I don't think this book is for me. I think this is a book for somebody whose mother did not work in the disposal of body field of work, to the point where in college when I would meet people for the first time, like the first questions are, what's your major and what do your parents do? And I whenever I would like meet somebody new, or a friend was introducing somebody to me, they would say, oh, and her mother burns people alive, or burns, they would say, oh, her mother burns people, and then just like move on. And depending what their response was, would tell whether or not we would continue to hang out with that person, okay? So like, there's this whole part where she talks about how apparently, because like it's talking about being buried with pets in hell. That's not really a thing you can do legally, and whatnot, and all this stuff. And she talks about how mummies, we all know about mummies, but like a lot of people apparently don't know that like people in good old mummy times would be mummified with their cats. Apparently people don't know this. I thought this was common knowledge. Also, I thought the fact that cannibalism technically isn't illegal is common knowledge. Like, there's stuff about like gross misuse of a corpse or stuff like that, but technically cannibalism isn't illegal. So like that's why you can't like just take your family members' skull home is also the same reason why you can't eat them. Um, so like, I don't know. I think I'm the wrong audience for this book, which is a shame. Anyways, next up is Space 16. I was gonna read it. I was gonna try to read some of it, at least try to read it tonight. But at this point, it's just short of 10 p.m. It takes me like 2 hours to read these mangas. It's a manga. I'm reading a manga. So by the time I read it, it's gonna be like midnight, and I think closing my eyes will help. Not looking at screens will help. So recording this is a great idea. It's one of those ones that also makes me nauseous. So I just feel like I'm gonna be sick, and like I have the I'm gonna be sick shakes. Those, is that an only me thing? That may be an only me thing. Anyways, Space 16, Make an Arrest. Book with a villain. Obvious prompt. It's gonna be Tokyo Ghoul Volume 8. Technically it's supposed to be Goth 7, 8, 9 were the ones I was supposed to read during this. But I already talked about this earlier. I think my loan for 7 was coming due, so I read that one earlier, outside of this. So it's now 8. It's gonna be volume 8. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because, the whole premise of the book is kind of segregation and racism, but also what makes a villain, because there's like the humans and the human soldiers that hunt down ghouls and whatnot, but like a lot of the human ghoul hunters we see are kind of crazy and psychotic, and I fear for normal society, thank you very much. And like we see the way that they treat ghouls and how it's like definitely not humane, like it's not okay. And then the ghouls are considered the villains because they have to eat human flesh, right? But most of the ghouls we see are, I say most of the ghouls up until this point, you see, except for the occasional like one-off villain or whatever, are like kind people who are just trying to live their lives, right, and drink a lot of coffee. Me too, fam. But this is the middle of, this is the last book I have read in this series. After this one, I am caught up to where I have read before. I started to reread end of last year, to basically finish the series. I'm going to finish it next month. It's gonna be a thing. Right, there's only 14 books. I'm so close. But the volume 8 is the middle of what is my favorite arc. I don't know if it continues after volume 8, because again, I haven't read past it. In which at like 2 books ago, Kaneki, the main character, has been kidnapped. He's a ghoul. He was a human, but he was turned into a ghoul when a ghoul attacked him, and then was sandwiched between a piece of landscaping and the ground, and they were both dying, and so the doctor in emergency surgery gave him the ghoul's liver. I think it was liver, in a liver transplant, and now he's a ghoul, right? And he's got weird powers. Like the ghoul that he got the transplant from was super powerful, but like there's like weird things with him, okay? And he has recently been kidnapped partially because of this, and so a bunch of stuff goes down with that, blah blah blah. Volume 7 is him after going through all this shit from becoming a ghoul, and going through like his whole entire life being turned upside down. We learn he's an orphan in volume 7, and he doesn't really have anybody in his whole life except for like his one friend, but he can't really hang out with his friend because he's a ghoul now, and all this other stuff. And then on top of that, he is continuously tortured horrendously, like parts of his body cut off and removed and then regrown and done over and over and over and over and over again for days, to the point where he breaks and then gets revenge on the guy doing it in a way in which he doesn't kill him, but takes him to the brink of killing him, so that while the human soldiers coming to kill all these ghouls will kill him. Like, there's no way that he's gonna survive this. They're gonna kill him because he can't even move. Like, he's so injured. And he's like, they're coming for you. Bye. Savage. Savage. And he shows up to the evil ghouls, separatists, who have been kidnapped and whatnot, or taken hostage, when they tried to escape together and all this stuff. And so he shows up to them and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna protect you guys now. I'll be in charge. And then also his ghoul friends are showing up to try to rescue him, not knowing he's already escaped. He's already escaped. And then also there is the humans attacking. So they're all in this one area fighting each other, and that's what happens in 8. 8 is more of that, and this is my favorite arc. This is when it started turning dark, and I was like, oh, like, it's already dark, like there's eating human flesh, but character wise it starts going dark. It's Kaneki's dark arc, and it's well done. I really like it. It's my favorite arc that I've read. And so, I mean, if you couldn't tell from how much I've talked about it in like the past 4 minutes, it's a volume of manga. Me, get yourself together. Anyways, I'm gonna read that first thing in the morning. Let's heck go. Oh, hi, we're back down here. My head does not hurt currently, though. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I've been feeling like I'm coming down with a cold for a few days now. So the girl's got some vitamin C she's gonna make after this, because whoops. Apparently the first time I read this volume, I rated it 3 stars. I upped it to 4. I didn't like it as much as 7, sadly. But it was still really good. I think 7 is my favorite one. Listen, great moments include, but are not limited to, when Kaneki is fighting with, I think her name's Takuda. That's probably wrong. A friend of his, her brother, right? He has to fight him, and he's all like, hey, I don't want to kill you, because, like, you're my friend's only brother, and that would make her sad and hurt her, and I don't want to do that, right? And this guy is like, you're such a pansy, you've gone through this change, obviously, because, like, his hair has, like, become white, from everything that went down. So it's all like, oh, you've clearly gone through this change and you're more powerful, but, like, you're still such a pansy because you can't just kill me and all this stuff. And then Kaneki's like, beats him up. It, like, punches him it knocks him down. It's all like, I can't kill you, but I can beat you half to death. And then he does. And then he goes through this whole process where he explains why he thinks that, why he's doing everything he's doing. And he's all like, oh my god, you're so crazy, Kaneki, just, like, stop talking and fight me already. And then he's all like, okay, well, I've been trying to figure out what half to death, beating half to death means. And I think that means breaking half your bones. So he does that. Kaneki's got a little crazy. He's got a little wild. I'm interested in what's up with this weird owl guy, ghoul. What's going on with him, because, like, he had the opportunity to kill a bunch of different humans, and oh god, people are asking me questions about the book club I read. He was, like, fighting a bunch of humans, and he's, like, one of the higher up ghouls. Like, he's like a triple S, which is, like, super difficult. Like, a normal S is difficult, okay? And so he had the opportunity to kill them, and then he just doesn't and leaves. So there's something weird about that. Kaneki's going off on his own. He's a lone wolf, except he's not. A bunch of other people are joining him, including the is his name the gourmet, whatever, who, like, is trying to eat Kaneki. That's, like, his whole thing. His goal in life is to eat him. And Kaneki's like, okay, you can come, you can join, you'd be a good soldier, but if you try anything, I'll kill you. And the gourmet is just like, oh, now I want him even more. Wild. Anyways, 4 stars. I liked the aspect where it kind of ends a cliffhanger with the humans, because hear me out, it was all a trap where all these humans are going to this one area to fight a bunch of ghouls, and then while they're doing that, oh, whoops, actually, the majority of the ghouls are actually at the headquarters to fuck up the human headquarters. So that's fun. And yeah. Also, I want to know what Kaniki's plan is. He said he had a plan and it just went off. Like, me too, man, but like... tell me something. My dude, I said I'm gonna read the next two today as well. I'm doing like 16 things at once. My brain is wild. We don't need to talk about it. Next up is Space 17. God, this was the hardest one. Alibi, which is legal word in the title. I spent literally 30 minutes of my life on Goodreads trying with a document that has a bunch of legal terms on it and copy and pasting, trying to find books that are either in my TBR or in general that sound interesting to doing this. And then I realized after half an hour, wait a second, I didn't test court. And the only one I think that gets that prompt is the Vauxhall Court. Yeah, it is on my 25 and 2025 because of the fish, and I still am mad at them for this. I do own it as an ebook, or my Kindle, as an ebook, but also Libby, I was able to get my hands on the audiobook, and it's, I believe, yeah, just short of 8 hours, so I can do it. While I do other things, I can do it, and that's the plan. I'm gonna do that in a hot minute. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook as I do some stuff and take some vitamin C, and it's the beginning of the week stress mixed with the trying to finish the stress, and that's fine. We're doing fine. We're doing great. We're having a great time. I'm surrounded by dogs, but I finished the book. I hated that. I forgot to update my book trackers. I hated that. Thank you, Ivy, for chewing on your bone right now. Yeah, so, like, imagine every reason I hated Tris 6 Venom, Only for the Fans, similar books to that, but sports and also gay. You know, I hated it. I was honestly fine with it. Like, it was like a 2.5. Like, I didn't like it, but there was some charm to it until the drugging scene. Until the drugging scene. And then I was like, oh, I just hate this. 2 stars. It's not as bad as Scarlet. I'll give it that props. It's just not for me. Thank you very much. This type of book is not for me in general. I did immediately, once I was like a quarter of the way through and realized what this book is, I immediately messaged the fish and went, I hate this. You will love it. Also, I feel like I should knock off more stars for how much the F slur is used. Also, the R slur is used once. Honestly, this book is just not not for me. But I read it. I technically owned it, but it's like free on Amazon, so I read it and I can never think about it again. I don't have to worry about this book ever again. Not even gonna bother putting the series on my series tracker because I'm not gonna continue. I did see. So I went. The whole reason why I got this is because of when Books and Lala read it, right? And so I went back and re-watched. I think it was the video where she was reading the sequel, technically, and she briefly talked about it. And she said like stuff about content warnings and whatnot. So then I looked at content warnings for the sequel, and I was like, wait a second, what is happening here? And then I looked up a spoiler review, and I went, what is these books? Also, I love how Nikki, the one like fully gay guy, the first gay character we meet, and he spends most of the book. Ivy, stop eating your leg. No. He spends most of the book sexually harassing the main character. And I, at one point, sent a message to the fish being like, the only reason he hasn't tried anything is because this other guy, Andrew, literally threatened him with a knife if he did. And then I turned the page and he forcefully kisses him not once, but twice. And then when he doesn't apologize. Like, he clearly feels bad about everything. Because, like, he was also drugged at that point. And I hate this scene so much. That scene literally caused me to have almost a breakdown. And I didn't have my camera on. And people were like, turn on your goddamn camera. We need to see you have a breakdown. And I was almost crying. I was hating it so much. I'm not giving it a 1.5. I contemplated it for 5 seconds there. Anyways, yeah, that scene happened. that happened the next page. And then he didn't apologize even though feeling bad. Nikki didn't until like third to last chapter, and then he's like, oops, sorry. Well, he accepted it, and he was like, no, I'll think about it. But right, also I don't get how he considers this family, because hear me out. If this was my family, they must all have issues. Oh my god, I hate this book so much. Anyways, that's the last one I have to use my Kindle for. Oh, thank god. Moving on with my life. I'm gonna do the next two. I'm gonna tell you what those are. They're back to back because they're both Tokyo Ghoul. So I'm just gonna read volumes 9 and 10 back to back. After I do some other work, and then update you depending on what time I read both of them. I'll either update you late tonight or I'll update you first thing in the morning. Because like the last one is an audiobook, and I do think I want to get at least halfway through tonight before I go to bed. Just laying in bed, and then tomorrow I can finish it first thing in the morning if I have to. Anyways, Space 18 is the one that was originally Hellbent, but I switched around. Which is Second Body Found, which is a sequel. That's the problem. So Tokyo Ghoul Volume 9, and then Space 19 is Time is Running Out, short book under 300 pages. That's gonna be Tokyo Ghoul Volume 10. They're like 200-ish pages each. The last one, Volume 8, that was the one I just read, right? Yeah, 8 was the longest one so far, I think, at 218 pages, so like they're fast. Okay. And 300 pages. So oh my god, are you okay? You heathen. Anyways, I'm gonna go do other work, and then I will go read both those volumes. Hello, hi, it's right before midnight. People are trying to get me to watch Invincible. I don't have time. I put on this hoodie. So you got range. Volume 9, I gave 3.5 stars. It was kind of boring. This is why. The first half was following, like, there's a 6-month time jump from volume 8. And so after, like, we didn't even get to see the ghouls attacking the demon, or not demon, ghoul hunter, ghoul fighting group headquarters, which I feel kind of way about. But it's a 6-month time jump, and the first half is very much 3 stars, very boring. What is the ghoul hunters up to now after the fact? All this stuff. And it's just like me sitting there just like, oh my god. It was somehow even more lore dumping about the different type of I don't know how to pronounce it, but the way that ghouls fight, using the same character to explain it, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god. Also, how did this man get so far into this agency without this knowledge already? This feels like something you should learn. I get there's like a thing where he skipped a lot of the schooling because of special circumstances, but like still I feel like this is something you should know. Anyways, the second half was what Kaneki and his crew is up to after the 6 month, which is by basically figuring out the real identity of the ghoul whose organs he had transplanted, turning him to a ghoul, figure out what her true identity was and what's up with her, and also the doctor who did the transplant, because there's something suspicious there. And that portion was better. As soon as it switched to the ghouls, it was better. And a 4-star, so even out 3.5. Volume 10 was much better blended. It is
the humans. Also, Kaneki's best friend is now working for the Ghoul Hunters. So that's fun. So they are they found something suspicious. I think I can't remember her name. It's like it starts with an R.I. The ghoul who died when he had his organ transplant. Blah blah blah. That one. They go, hey, maybe this person is actually who that ghoul that we're searching for was. And it's so weird that this kid had an organ transplant with her liver, and like it was like this whole big story when it happened because her parents didn't consent, but the doctor did anyways. This whole thing, right? And so there's this whole story. So they're like, hey, yeah, and since then that doctor has gone missing, and so is this Kaneki kid. And then Kaneki's friend's like, yeah, he's my best friend. I don't know what's going on with that, right? And so the ghoul hunters are trying to figure out where Kaneki is, where the doctor is, how they're connected, and this whole conspiracy with that. They're like on the verge of figuring out the conspiracy, and part of that is Eamon, who is the main ghoul hunter that we follow throughout the series, who has run into Kaneki a few times, and Kaneki's like let him live and be all like more human than most, and that kind of gave Amon a complex earlier, but then his higher up, who he's really close with, died, and so he's like, never mind. He has it all in his head about if Kaneki was turned into a ghoul by having her organs transplanted into him, what does that make him? Like, he's still a ghoul, but he's also still human. So like, how do you deal with that, right? About all this stuff. And also at the same time, Kaneki and his crew are trying to find the doctor to figure out what the hell is happening. Right? And also there's this other group that were a part of the crew that tortured and kidnapped him earlier, who are also trying to find the doctor for that group so that he can work with them. And basically that doctor's been working to make more humans turn to ghouls. With, is her name Rin? I don't think that's right. She is alive, apparently. He's had her locked up and been using her to do that. So that's a whole thing. And so Kaneki has to fight people. I find it so funny where like sometimes he'll just be like normal nice Kaneki with his heart, and then all of a sudden he'll switch and he'll go like full crazy, like including torturing a woman with the same techniques that were used to torture him to get information. Kind of wild. Like another character is all the way he explains it is like there's two sides of Kaneki, and most of the time is normal Kaneki, we all know and love, but then if something happens from a drop of a hat, it'll be crazy wild Kaneki who will murder everybody, right? And that balance is slowly falling apart, and at some point you're gonna snap. So that's fun. He confronts the doctor, so that's a whole thing. I feel like there was another point I wanted to bring up, but yeah, no, basically the ghoul hunters and the crew we know and love are all in the same area again, and trying to not fight but also get the same information, but they don't want the other people to get the same information, right? It's this whole mess. It's a whole mess. Oh, the other thing I want to bring up, the end of volume 10 was fucking wild because he has, I want to say it's pronounced Kaguin, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong, which is the ghoul's body's way of making a weapon to fight, right? And each ghoul has a specific kind. There's like 5 different specific kinds. This was lore dumpy stuff earlier. Anyways, since him being traumatized and being on the brink of falling apart, his has changed Which brings up something also about this volume, where this volume, the fight scenes are better. Hear me out. Most of the time, I can't understand what's happening in them. This one, I could most of the time. So that was the thing. Anyways, it looked like it had changed a little bit, but at the end of the volume, you get to see it in its full glory. Kaniki, are you okay, honey? Anyways, 4 stars for volume 10. You know, I'm just fluctuating between 3 and 4 stars for most of these. Anyways, don't worry, I get to finish the whole series next month. Last prompt. I'm not gonna read it tonight because it's 12:05 now. I did drink coffee like 3 hours ago. It was me finishing my coffee. That's when I finished my last. But I am gonna climb into bed and try to sleep. If I can't, I'll put in the audiobook. But the plan is to read it tomorrow morning. And that is for the last prompt, which is crack the case. Obviously, because you finished, you cracked yourself the case. Which is to read a 5-star prediction. As you can imagine, this one was particularly hard for me because I'm bad at that. I'm not good at figuring out 5-star predictions for me. Because even books I really enjoy, I usually don't rate 5 stars. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. That Jughead quote. Anyways, I was trying to figure out for the longest time. Initially, I had it written down as like the next in the Readathon universe, right? The Percy Jackson universe. I think it's the first Magnus Chase. But then I realized I was running low on time. And those are pretty thick books, so I changed it to an audiobook I could get my hands on immediately, and that's Opinions by Roxanne Gay. You may be like, I'm sorry, what? I know honestly nothing about this. But let me give you the reason why. Basically, I'm one in my nonfiction era. Like, I want to say, I'm not. Let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure the last 5-star book I read was a nonfiction. Yeah, that's accurate. There's been 2 4.5s. Yeah, there's been 2 4.5s, but there's only been 1 5 this month. That was actually the first book I read this month. I think, no, not technically the first one. I don't know. But that was a nonfiction, okay? So, in theory, I think I'm in my nonfiction era, which is fine. And then also, I've read 2 Roxane Gays before, I think, and I know I rated the first one 5 stars, and I think the other one 4 stars. So, like, I have a history of enjoying her books, and I'm in my nonfiction era, so why the fuck not? That's it. That's the moral of the story. I will go read that. Technically later today, but don't worry about it. It is 2:30 today. I'm supposed to edit this whole thing. I'm tired. We're not talking about it. I got like 5 hours sleep and not talking about it. Opinions by Roxanne Gay, the last book for this vlog that I did for some reason. This is my own fault. I can only blame myself. I'm giving it 4 stars. Most of the book, it's like a collection of a lot of her essays throughout the years. Specifically a lot from the 2016 to 2020 election time period, right? That time period. There was a lot from that. So that was fun reading the ones where she's talking about Donald Trump somehow winning the first election to now in 2025 he's president again. It's fun. It's a fun experience reading it and being like,
Ow. Thanks. Especially when she brings up how people can be considered angry, specifically these white male politicians, but Hillary Clinton couldn't, Barack Obama couldn't, right? And the comparison, it was topical. It was topical. It was insightful for the first 75%. And then the last 25%, I don't know for sure because I was playing Stardew while I listened. Sue me. I switched to, for the last part, just her interviewing celebrities. Which, I mean, if there's one thing to come from this, I think his name's Charlie Hunnam, learned that he was supposed to play Christian Grey in the 50 Shades of Grey universe, but ended up backing out. And then people told me to watch Sons of Anarchy. So that's a thing in my future. Apparently I'm going to do. And that's it. One other thing is that when she talked about how growing up as a Christian young girl and a version by Madonna came out about religion, but also about female sexuality in such a space, impacted her, and I was like, yes. Otherwise, the last quarter was just those interviews, and it was very left field, different arc. I get that she was trying to organize them in such a way, but it was just a bunch of interviews at the end, and it was just boring, and I didn't see the point of them being in here. You could have cut out 2 hours out of this audiobook without them, and it would have been a 4.5. I would have loved it. And then the last 2 little sections was her talking about fan asked questions and her answers to them, which was fine, I guess. So because of that, it's a 4. It was a 4. I literally was just sitting there playing Stardew Valley Fishing, being like, why am I listening to this? Why? I get the reason why for the rest of these, but these ones, I'm not feeling it, fam. I guess it's cool that Madonna really likes wine, and yeah, that's about it that I remember from those specific ones. She likes very specific ones. It can only be good ones. It can't be mediocre ones. Right? It was fun remembering that Sarah Paula, that's her name, right, is gay. And is in a relationship with an older woman and how people view that. I guess that was fun. Anyways, 4 stars. Moving on with my life. I gotta go edit this whole thing. This is, we're officially at the, I think, 20-hour mark before this goes up. 22, something like that. Fun. Also, I feel gross and I want to take a shower, but anyways, I'm really bad at closing out vlogs, so let's go. Let's see if I can do it. Wednesdays and Saturdays, I do videos here. Usually this is a Wednesday video, but normally Wednesdays are for gaming, Saturdays are for booktube. Speaking of which, it was initially going to be the last minute crafter video, but I did make a TPR this month for March, so that's Saturday's video. Every other Friday there's a podcast episode. There is supposed to be, listen, it may be postponed. We may just skip this week so that I can do this, because we haven't recorded it yet, and I gotta edit it and do everything for it, and I'm too tired. So that may be postponed, but there's a podcast link below. There's some funny episodes, you should check them out. Fun things. I stream on Twitch a lot, at least twice a week. I do other things at other places, who knows. Links are below. Everything's there. Do the things if you want to do the things. Subscribe. I think I'm supposed to say that. Who fucking knows? And I'm gonna go edit this whole thing. Actually, I'm gonna go make coffee. As this uploads to my files. And until the next video.